don't even want to say it after last week, Bad Dog. I don't. But you know what? It's a new week. It's a new week. Bad Dog popped in right as I was going live. He told me he was going to run a couple minutes behind, but he popped in. I'm glad he's here so we could talk about this team. Put the past in the past. Move on. It's a new week. Everything that can go wrong went wrong last week. We hope as Giants fans they could turn it around. We'll talk about some of the news that came out this week. But everybody in the chat, new week. Stand up! New York Giants fans. Bad Dog, what's going on, my man?
What is up, man? What is up? Listen, screw last week. That's over. That's one loss. And we'll be 1-1 after Sunday. And that's really all that matters. Don't really have much to say. You and I both witnessed that massacre, as did about 5,000 other people. I mean, I guess the best word for it, Chris, for me, disappointing. You wait 8 months. You had a really good last year. Giants fan base is excited. Felt like we made really good offseason moves. Feel like we closed the gap a little bit against Dallas. Ready to go. You wait all day on Sunday on top of waiting 8 months.
Yeah.
And you get in there and you get punched in the mouth and you never get up.
Yeah, I mean, it was a gut punching loss. One of the tougher. Well, I mean, we said it during the live stream, but one of the tougher losses I've endured as a Giants fan, just because of, all the momentum built last year going into this year. You get a divisional opponent. You expected it to at least be competitive. It is what it is. Everything that could go wrong in that everything that can go wrong obviously went wrong in that game. Dallas is a better team than us. They're not 40 points better than us. I think the team panicked. They fell behind. They got away from the game plan. After the blocked field goal for a touchdown, Kafka comes out after they run the ball down the field on the first drive, and they throw on the first 3 plays. And I think at that point, once they fell behind with the offensive line, the way that they performed, and the Cowboys knew the Giants had to throw, it was lights out. And that's what happened. And it is what it is. You move on. You hope things get better. But the thing that's most, I guess, impactful for me in terms of from a negative standpoint is the play of the offensive line. And, it's 1 week. You hope they get better, but obviously you get the bad news now about Andrew Thomas, who's questionable going into this game. He got hurt on that blocked field goal, I believe.
Yeah.
And he stayed in with the hamstring injury. So you hope he gets back to health. But even if he does, you look at the rest of this line. I mean, the interior line was awful. The right tackle play was awful. And if you want to think optimistically, you could say, well, it was the Dallas Cowboys, one of the best pass rushers in football. And that's all well and good, but they're in our division. We got to compete with that team. We got to play that team 2 times a year. And if this team expects to go anywhere anytime soon, we got to close the gap. And as a Giants fan in the offseason, I think a lot of us were hoping that gap was starting to be closed because we were banking on the fact, or at least hoping, that Evan Neal was going to mature, that Evan Neal was going to get better. It's only 1 week, but it's year 2 now. And you saw Evan Neal getting not just exposed by Micah Parsons, not just getting exposed by Tank Lawrence, getting exposed by the 3rd-string pass rusher, getting exposed by the 4th-string pass rusher, just getting completely beat off the edge. And that, to me, was the most depressing part of that game. The score was embarrassing enough. The turnovers, the defense getting no pressure on Dak. What else is new? We haven't sacked him in the last 3 games. But for me, it was the offensive line. We went into this year, Bad Dog, knowing that the key to this season was the maturation of that offensive line. If we were going to close the gap on the Eagles and close the gap on the Cowboys, that needed to get better. And if this team intends to compete this year, they better get better real quick. Because all those nice, pretty moves we made doesn't mean jack if the offensive line comes out and performs like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan Neal looked horrendous. That's why I did the video I did today. Now, I'm not ready to call the guy a bust yet, because that term's floating around, and it's understandable. I mean, he was not good last year. He was injured. So, he missed some snaps. You chalk it up to maybe he's injured, maybe he wasn't healthy all year, but he came out and he sucked. And I think, again, I talk about confidence all the time. It's just something that doesn't show up in the box score. You can't tell. But again, whether you're playing football, baseball, whether you're lifting weights, whether you're doing anything, if you go into doing something with confidence, you're going to do it better than as opposed to not having confidence. You're not going to do it well at all. Like if I go to the gym and I say, okay, I think I can bench 315. I don't mean that I can do it, but maybe I can if I have confidence that I can. If I go in there and go, there's no way I can lift that, then there's no way I'm going to lift it. So to me, Evan Neal against the Cowboys, they killed him last year.
Yeah.
And as soon as he started getting beat, it could just play in his head. I can't do it. Like I can't stop these guys. and that can mess things up. And same thing with Daniel Jones. Again, Daniel Jones against the Cowboys is probably thinking, every time I drop back, I'm getting hit. Every time I drop back, I'm getting hit. Every time. I don't know where it's coming from, but every time I'm back here, I'm going to get hit. So people are like, oh, check down this, check that down. I'm like, yeah, because he wants to get rid of the ball because he's sick and tired of getting hit. So protect him, for crying out loud. I mean, listen, I don't want 350-pound guys smashing me. So he's probably like, even if he had time, when you get hit, this is why you want to get pressure on the quarterback. When you're knocking the quarterback down early in the game, it gets in his head. The clock gets in your head. And sometimes the clock speeds up even when it doesn't need to, because like, I'm going to get hit. I'm just going to throw the ball to Barkley. I can't sit back there and scan the field. I have to go with my first read because I don't have time to get to my second and third read.
We've been saying that for years.
I mean, and I got a lot of that, Oh, Daniel Jones sucks. Daniel Jones is a one-read quarterback. We knew this. He only had time for one read.
Yeah. I mean, the guy was pressured 24 times, I think it was.
Ridiculous, Chris.
15 times in the first half. 15 times he was pressured in the first half. That's insane.
Crazy.
That's insane. And I don't care who the quarterback is. If the offensive line performs like that, you're not going to do very well. So it is what it is. It's the position that we're in. We got to hope that this team gets better. I think they will hopefully bounce back this week. But if I'm the Giants, if Andrew Thomas is even going to play, you know he's not 100% going into this game. And I know we all envisioned this game when we looked at the schedule, Baddog, as the game where we got to unleash the toys. We got to throw the ball. If I'm the Giants, I'm going to the run. I'm going back to what we did the first half of last season, especially if Andrew Thomas is limited. I'm going to Saquon Barkley. I'm grinding the ball. They got Dobbs on the other side at quarterback. They're not going to put up a load of points. I don't care if it's we need to win. I don't care how we win. There's no style points in the NFL. Get back to dirty, grimy football. Do what you did in the first drive against the Cowboys last week. That was working. If you're going to be limited as an offense, if Andrew Thomas is even going to play, because he's going to be limited. We saw this offensive line played last week. They have to dirty up this game. They got to run the football. They got to limit turnovers, and they got to beat a team that they're supposed to beat on the road. I don't expect it to be a high-flying, pretty win like a lot of us thought before the year started. I'm okay with that. We just got to win this game.
Listen, the line can run block pretty good, but the pass block has a lot left to be desired. So, it like you said, it was just a terrible thing. We watched it in that first drive. I mean, we were sitting there going, look at this, man. We're running the ball. We're down here in the 12, and that false start just got everything going backwards. The false start, then the bad snap, then the block kick. And not only is it a block kick, then they pick it up and bring it back for 6, and you're like, what the, And then they go, like you said, instead of running the ball again, Chris, they go 3 and out because they passed 3 straight times. He got sacked once, and then it was 3rd down and 19. And then Dallas goes down and scores. And then again, we get in 3rd and long, and he just kind of throws the ball to Barkley, who gets hit. The ball goes up in the air, another pick 6. Game's over.
And I think they panicked. Not just the players. I think the coaching staff panicked.
I agree.
I think Kafka and Daboll had a horrible game. I think they panicked and they got away from what they thought, what they were trying to do early on in that game, because it got out of control once they fell behind by 2-3 scores. But to throw 3 times in a row after the drive that you just had, knowing that your offensive line is going to get destroyed if you have to throw the ball consistently, I thought that was a panic move by Kafka and Daboll on that second drive. And then, like you said, things just kind of spiraled out of control. John! Go ahead, Baddog.
No, go. You can get to that. We got a lot of
guys, you're all the best. Still mad because y'all stunk and not beat Dallas, but I want y'all to beat the reject Gannon. Do not lose this game. I warn you. I mean, listen, if we lose this game, forget about it. Like, it's gonna be 0-2 going into San Francisco with a loss against what is perceived to be at least the easiest team on our schedule before the year started. Now, of course, they look pretty good against Washington, a team that I actually picked in my knockout pool week 1 because I thought that was a pretty easy win. I thought Washington would run away with that with Dobbs at quarterback. So who knows? They got pressure right in that game. I think they had 6 sacks against Washington. We saw the Achilles heel of this team last week. So that's why I said, Beto, we got to stick with the run this week. Yeah. Giants can't get stupid this week.
Washington's not good.
They did not play well.
They're not good. I know I got Louis T's all about Sam Howell. Sam Howell sucks.
Yeah.
Sam Howell, I mean, what do you have? A fumble, an interception. He threw for 200 yards. He threw for 169 yards against Dallas last year in a meaningless game to Dallas. And he threw an interception. I'm like, well, I don't see the hype around Sam Howell. But regardless, they won the game. We have to win this game. You mentioned San Francisco. To me, I mean, Chris, I know you can't afford to lose the game, but God, I'd almost rather Andrew Thomas just not play and get healthy for San Francisco, because San Francisco's pass rush isn't any less, aggressive than Dallas's. And you want Andrew Thomas to be 100%. You certainly don't want him to miss San Francisco game.
49ers, man. I watched my friend's a 49ers fan. I went to the bar with him for the 1:00 games last week. I watched that game in its entirety. That defense is insane. And
It's ridiculous.
yeah, that defense is insane. I mean, they made Kenny Pickett look completely lost out there. I thought the Steelers were going to keep that game competitive, but we can't worry about that game right now. We gotta worry about winning this game however we could do it, and then you worry about San Francisco when we get there on short rest, by the way. But it's 1 week at a time, and we got to worry about this week. Pete says, "Old Jalari, enough said." And I mean, it is what it is at this point, Bad Dog. I think it's fair to say, and obviously we hope that it changes over the course of time. But I think it's fair to say at this point that Ojulari is a guy that's at least trending towards being an injury-prone player. We talked about it going into the year last year when we saw him, beef up like the Hulk, that we were worried, that could lend itself to injuries. Of course, he missed a lot of last season. I think he played maybe 5 games, 6 games, whatever it was, and he's already hurt this year. So that's definitely something that, I'm concerned with. A guy that we were all excited about this year that we really could hope see mature opposite Kayvon Thibodeau for a full season, and he's banged up. He's doubtful for this game. I don't expect him to play. So that's definitely concerning as well. Maybe a guy like Simmons gets a little bit more action this week, but, and of course, Boogie as well, who we acquired in the trade. So I think those guys will get some more reps. But, not having Aziz out there certainly doesn't, help this defense. Let's put it that way. I think we could get by this week with Aziz out. I am worried if Andrew Thomas doesn't play, though. I'll tell you that. Don't care who we play. If AT doesn't play, he's the second most important player on this football team. So better hope he's good. Like Bad Dog said, if he's not, rest him. You're going to need him for the rest of the season and try to squeak out a win by grinding out the clock with Saquon Barkley. So we'll see. But
because like you said, Chris, you don't expect Arizona to put up a ton of points. So if you have to win an ugly game like Washington did last week, you just take it and you move on because you want Andrew Thomas to be healthy. This is all about winning. Like you said, it's not about style points. You're not getting ranked depending on how much you're beating your opponents by. So the health of Andrew Thomas is much more important. I think you can get by in this game knowing that Arizona should not put up 30 points against you. So as far as Azeez Ojulari goes, I've just gotten to a point, and I like Azeez Ojulari, but I've gotten to a point where I just don't expect him to play. You get those players where it's just like they're always hurt. Don't count on them, and I don't count on them. So that sucks. I've been wanting to see Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau play together, and they did last week. But again, I mean, you're down 16-0 at the drop of a hat, and pretty much the air was sucked right out of that stadium. So I don't expect much from Azeez Ojulari. They did mention Isaiah Simmons. Obviously, Simmons going back home, played in Arizona his first 3 years in the NFL, and did not do well there. Well, they say he didn't do well. I looked at his stat. I didn't think he was that bad there, but they scapegoated him as far as Cardinals fans said. They scapegoated him. They expected him to cover Travis Kelce. They expected him to cover George Kittle. And when he didn't, they blamed him and whatever. I don't know what the deal is, but you don't think that he has a little, motivation going back to Arizona? So without Azeez Ojulari, maybe he does get a bigger role. Maybe Wink says, just go. And we'll see what the game plan is. But I do expect a better game plan from these guys because, like you said, Chris, the coaching, which we revered huge last year, and Coach Daboll won Coach of the Year. They did have a bad game. I mean, everybody had a bad game. And he took accountability for it. He said, hey, I take it. I take that. So at least he is showing accountability, which is something a previous regime didn't do. We got to win. I know that much.
That's it. That's what it comes down to. And Kenny says, what is said is that the Vikings were down to the third string left tackle and second string right tackle and still gave Kirk a clean pocket against most of the night against Philly. Go get Reisner and Collins. Yeah. I mean, Kirk was throwing the ball all over the Eagles, and it's a good point. Listen, when you watch the other team
19 times last night, Chris, they might have won that game.
Yeah, they fumbled on the 1 yard line. Justin Jefferson,
fumbled 4 times in the first half.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I thought the Eagles would come out a little sluggish. They still found a way to be 2-0 though, with a new OC, a new DC. I thought they'd come out a little sluggish to start the year. They're finding ways to win games though. Mike says 73, 2 long plays, too high, bad lean, no go at G. What am I missing there? 73, too long. Oh, he's talking about Evan Neal. Okay. Plays too high, bad lean. Yeah, Mike, I mean, listen, we talked about it in, I think, listen, I forget, I think it was a preseason game. It looked like, oh, no, it wasn't him. It was somebody else, actually. It might have been Parrott, where he looked like he didn't even know the snap count, and he got destroyed off the edge. But in that game in the regular season, Evan Neal looked like he hasn't gotten any better at all. It looked like we were watching the same exact Evan Neal last year when he went up against this Dallas Cowboys team. So certainly something to be discouraged by. You just got to hope it gets better, but not a good start for him in year 2. He's still got 16 games to grow and make up for it. But if he doesn't, then I think it's fair to start at least whispering and thinking, yeah, was this a bad pick? Scott says, the end of the first drive was so on brand for the Giants, shaking my head. Yeah, yes, it was. I mean, they went down and they looked exactly like they did in their only first drive in the preseason, even though it was completely different. The first drive in the preseason, all they did was throw. The first drive in, of the regular season, all they did was run, but it was working. Jones made a couple of plays with his legs. Barkley was running the ball. We were getting a good push. Andrew Thomas full start, the botch snap, and then the block field goal. And I think it just took the wind out of the team after that, and you saw what happened. But it is what it is. You got to just hope it's a one-off, and we're going to see how much resiliency this team has. We're going to see how good of a coach Brian Daboll really is. And he is a guy I certainly believe in. I think he is a good coach, but a great coach. But didn't have a good game his first game. Team did not perform well. It's not obviously just him. The players obviously got to take responsibility too. But we'll see. I think it's the first time since Daboll's been the head coach of the Giants where he's really faced any adversity. Last year, the team had no expectations. They didn't spend a single day under 500. It felt like it was a magic carpet ride. Nobody saw it coming. Now, yeah, you have some adversity. You go out there week 1, you put up a goose egg, you lose 40-0 at home against the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, we'll see how the team responds, and we'll see how he does, not just in this game, but going forward. We know they got a challenging schedule, but you got to take it one game at a time. So we'll see how it plays out. Juan, man, thank you so much, man, for being a member. Baddog, what were you going to say?
Well, you mentioned adversity, and that's something Coach Daboll talked about even before the season started. He said, that group of guys last year is different than this group of guys. We're going to face adversity through the year. We have to see how we come through it. Well, like you mentioned, there was no expectations on this coaching staff last year. Yeah. The year that they had last year in the offseason they had, there are expectations now. They got their doors blown off. They got the break speed off of them. They got dominated and humiliated in front of a national television audience in their stadium, in front of their fans by one of their biggest rivals, in the history of the NFL. And they got humiliated. So we'll see, because the coaching staff is going to face some adversity now. And Joe Shane's going to start like it happens that fast. It just they say in a New York minute, right? I mean, there's a saying for a reason in a New York minute. Things happen very fast in New York. And listen, Chris, it's not just New York. First quarter, Eagles first home game. It's the first quarter. Fans are booing them because they didn't move the ball. I'm like, the people like Giants fans are rough. Like, this team just won an NFC Championship game first, their second drive of the game. They're booing them
in a new offense,
right? They're booing.
And he didn't play. And Hurts hasn't played particularly well, but I think they're being a little tough on him. Like you said, they just went to a Super Bowl. I was like, wow. Yeah. And it's cool, man. Thank you so. Yeah, dude, we're obviously in down in the dumps. He's a Jets fan. Listen, I feel for you guys too. Like, it just feels like New York sports are cursed. Not just the Jets, like the Mets, the Yankees. The expectations they had coming into this year was astronomical. The Jets, obviously, most people thought they'd at least be competitive from within that conference to compete to have a run in the playoffs after they added Aaron Rodgers, and they definitely looked apart week 1, even without Rodgers, being able to beat the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad. Just picture Giants fans in this chat. Think about it if you were a Jet fan, right? You finally get that guy that you feel like is going to put you over the top. Runs 4 plays as a New York Jet, and he's done. So yeah, it was just a horrible week. It's crazy, Baddog. For all the momentum that just New York football in general had going into the start of the regular season between both the Giants and the Jets. Our first playoff win since 2012. And the Jets, I mean, they get Aaron Rodgers. Everybody obviously hyping them up, rightfully so. They have a good team. They showed it week 1, even without Rodgers. Crazy, just crazy, man. It's crazy. Like you said, in a New York minute, things could flip like that, especially in the game of football.
Feel bad for Jets fans. And at first, I didn't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the whatchamacallit, the therapy session Monday, and I didn't know. I just knew he went down with a leg injury. And then when I saw the replay, you could actually see his Achilles tendon kind of go. And I was like, oh my God, it's terrible. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Sunday. Yankee fans, Jason Dominguez, the Martian, comes up. He's our top prospect, one of the highest prospects in baseball. Hits like 4 home runs his first 2 weeks. Tears the UCL. He's out for next year. He's out for 10 months.
Yeah.
So this is just insane. The bad luck New York sports is having. I don't know if the Giants really had bad luck. They just got their ass kicked.
No bad luck there. They just sucked. But
they just sucked. I feel terrible for Jets fans. That happened to Aaron Rodgers.
And I've always been a fan of Aaron Rodgers. I was excited. Yeah. So it sucks. I know they're saying that he's going to come back, and we'll see. I hope he does. I hope he comes back and the Jets get a year with him. We'll see how it plays out. But if I'm him, I'm 40 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. I would probably hang it up if I'm being honest with you, but maybe the competitor in him comes back.
I think if you're Aaron Rodgers, I don't think there's any way you want your career to end like that.
That's true too. That's true too. I hope he comes back. Scott,
Mariano Rivera was going to retire. Yeah. And then shagging fly balls in the outfield, he tore his knee up.
I remember that.
He came back the next year. He's like, I'm not ending my season like that, or my career like that. Yeah. So I think Aaron Rodgers will be back next year. But it's sector Jets fans because the Jets haven't been in the playoffs in 12 years. It's like the longest streak in the NFL. Maybe it's longer than that. Is it 12 years? I think it's 12.
I think it's 12.
That might be the longest streak in the playoffs. So I feel bad. I mean, I see it all the time. The Jets will jet. It's just bad luck. It's like the Mets. The Jets and Mets can do everything right. Inevitably, it's injuries or just they don't perform the way they did. Something happens. Those are cursed franchises.
What can go wrong will go wrong.
Like shit is what happened there.
Yeah. Scott says, either way, win or lose, always great to listen to you guys talk Giants. Keep us from jumping off cliffs, making us. Hey, Scott, I need to take like a 4-day break after that. I went live right after the game. I wanted to get all my thoughts out right after the game and just vent with you guys. And then I said to myself, I don't want to talk about this team right now. I got my thoughts out there. And I didn't want to go on Twitter. I didn't want to look at what people were saying about this team. I didn't want to see Giants fans relishing and being right about the team. And, I come on here and it's fun. That's why I like now having a full-time job. I don't need to feel the pressures of coming on here to talk about this team all the time when I don't want to. I got my thoughts out there. I talked about it. And now we're back. We're continuing to talk about it, but it's time to move on. That's the way the NFL works, Bad Dog. It's a week-to-week league, and they could turn it around in a New York minute. They disappointed us in a New York minute. You could turn it around in a New York minute. You get some positive vibes. You beat Arizona. Maybe you start to get the ball rolling. Maybe you don't quite beat the 49ers, but you play a tough game, a competitive game. Then all of a sudden you got Seattle and you build some momentum. It's a week-by-week game. You can't predict the schedule. So could this whole season go up in smoke? Absolutely. If the offensive line looks like that, it will go up in smoke. I promise you. So that needs to improve vastly, and it needs to start this week. So we'll see.
Yeah, the only thing I can say for me, like I felt like I talked a lot of shit. So I felt like I owed it. I owed it to to Cowboys fans to take my medicine. And I always do anyway. It's just how I am, man. I talk shit. I don't run away. I mean, that's the difference between content creators and typers. Is typers, they can say whatever the hell they want in the chat. If they're wrong, they just disappear. When you have a format and you're wrong, you have to come and take your medicine. That's okay. You take it like the Cowboy fans, it's just funny because they're like, oh, you said they were gonna win. I I'm like, you think I can't? You don't think do you think this is new to me? You think it's new to me to have to sit here and go, oh Jesus, we lost to the Cowboys again? No, I've been here. I'm used to it. I'm used to this. So, but when it and it will happen eventually, when they lose to us, well, it's gonna be a whole different story. I was waiting for that day.
I just don't know when it's going to happen. But
I don't either now. Looking at that game,
I just don't know when it's going to happen. Scott says, either way, win, lose, always great to listen to you. Oh, I just read that. Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Thank you for listening.
Yes, we do.
We
don't win this week, though, Giants fans. We got this. We got this one.
If this makes you, if this calms you down even a little bit, thank you for being here. And John says, Guys, my Eagles are fortunate to be 2-0. Jones and Cousins threw for over 300 yards. We have injuries. Offense not up to speed yet, so G-men should be encouraged. I'm not encouraged. We just lost 40-0 to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not encouraged at all. Like I said, I expected your Eagles to come out a little sluggish because of the turnover on the coaching staff, and you still found a way to win. That's what good teams do. So, if anything, I'm more discouraged. They found a way to win, despite the fact that they're not near clicking yet. So, no, I'm not. I'm definitely – it's going to take a lot more for me to be encouraged about the New York Giants, and hopefully it starts this week.
Yeah. Okay.
Cy Guy says, we studied the tape, we made adjustments, and we're moving on. T-Mac. Yeah, oh, God. Special teams. Don't even get me started with special teams. It's been a disaster.
He's been terrible.
Absolute disaster.
You think Bobby Johnson needs to get fired? I hear this a lot. Our offensive line sucks.
He's going to if it doesn't start to improve, because this is, and I think I saw Hefe. I saw a quick clip on Twitter over today, and yeah, he was right. It's the same thing that happened with Joe Judge. He had to start blaming somebody else. It's the same thing's going to happen with Daboll. Like, he's got to be like, okay, I need to make changes. I can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So if this offensive line looks as bad as it looked week 1, by week 9 or 10, yeah, I think there will be a change.
But do you think that that's a reason? Like, listen, with Colombo, I remember the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know if it was head coach or the line coach said, "Why are they making Andrew Thomas do things that he didn't do at Georgia?" And then, like a week after that, Colombo was fired. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. And then Andrew Thomas started playing better. So, I mean, could Bobby Johnson be a reason Evan Neal has not developed? Yeah. I guess is what I'm asking you there.
I mean, it can't hurt to make a change if the line continues. I'm not saying fire him yet at all, but
right. I didn't know if you thought maybe that had something to
it
could.
Do with it. I mean, listen, I think you look at the Eagles, they have one of the best offensive line coaches in football, and they're constantly one of the best. Same thing with the Patriots. They had the best offensive line coach of all time there for years. Coaching matters in the NFL. We saw that firsthand last year with Daboll. So if this offensive line is not performing, yeah, I think at some point this year, if it does, and hopefully that doesn't happen, hopefully the line gets better. But at some point this year, yeah, I think there would be a change. Jay says, are we ready to give up on Aziz? Guy's never healthy. I'm not ready to give up on him as a talent, but yeah, I think it's fair to say at this point that the odds are, yeah, I'm not counting on him. And I think the odds are strongly against the possibility of him getting a second contract with the New York Giants. Now that could change. Maybe he stayed. The odds were strongly against Daniel Jones getting a second contract with the New York Giants before last year. A lot strongly against it. So that could change in a New York minute. That's the theme of the show. But right now, if you ask me, yeah, it's very not probable that he will be getting a second long-term contract with the New York Giants. The majority of it has to do with the fact that he can't stay healthy. And it's Cola says, I was at the game. I will say the craziest atmosphere I've ever experienced. I have faith with Zach, but my heart drops every time he touches the ball. Well, then you don't have faith with him. If your heart's dropping every time he touches the ball, you don't got a lot of faith in him, it's Cola. But hey, I think if you're a Jets fan, you got to say, all right, we got a really good team. You got to, the rest of this year, you hope he could be a guy that manages the game, much like Sanchez did when you had those really good Jet teams in 2009, 2010. We saw firsthand week 1. Your team is really good. And if he could manage the ball and not turn the ball over, you're going to be competitive in most games. And I think that's got to be the mission. And hopefully Aaron Rodgers being there helps him mature a bit as a quarterback. Obviously, he was a good prospect coming out. But Cole, man, thank you very much. And Katrick says, season far from over. Feet 26, work off. I agree. Katrick, this week more than ever. And it's funny. In a New York minute, things change. But it's funny, Bad Dog. I said it earlier. Going into the year, I was like, no, this is going to be the game that the Giants air it out. This is where we're going to get to see Waller. But with the Thomas injury, no. You get back to your roots. You pound the ball with Saquon Barkley this week. That has to be the mission, especially going up against a team like them. We don't need to blow them out. We need this win desperately. You don't get stupid this week. You pound the ball with Barkley, and you force them to be able to put up points with basically a third-string quarterback starting the game. So I'm with you, Katrick. You pound the ball with Barkley. I want to see them run the ball 30, 35 times this week between Jones, Barkley, Breida, whoever. Play smart football and get out of Arizona with a win. Don't care how you do it. Don't care if you win 7-6. Just win the game. That's all I care about. So,
the reason being, I mean, like I said, we're not a bad run blocking team. Those guys do some run blocking. Let them get their confidence back. You know what I mean? You mix in a pass here and there, but you have to play ahead of the sticks. You don't want to get an obvious passing downs. So you want to be 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. You do those type of things, then you will be able to pass the ball if you can play head of the sticks because the defense has to play you honest. If you're in 3rd and 11, well, they know you're not going to run, or they're going to let you run the ball and say, okay, you can try to get 11 yards on 3rd and 11 running the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, you gotta run the ball. If we were able to push Dallas around running it, there's no reason we can't do that to Arizona. They got to run the ball. I agree, 30 to 35 times.
Yeah, I want to see what we saw in the first 8 games. I know fans don't want to see that. They want this offense to open up, but especially if Thomas isn't playing or is limited, we're not in a place to do that right now. And we got time. Says, hey, fellas, long time. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here. Hope things been well. By the way, worst part of Sunday in a bar filled with Cowboys fans, but the plus got free margaritas. Well, that's good. At least you're able to drown your sorrows a little bit. I mean, listen, man, if I wasn't streaming that game got to a point where if I was at a bar, if I even stayed to watch the remainder of the game, I would have been pounding a few. I would have needed some alcohol in my system to get past that one. That was god awful. Tell me, obviously, when you're on the stream and you're a fan and you're watching the game, you're always hoping beyond hope. But tell me your thoughts that went into your head after the blocked field goal. Like, what in your head? What are you thinking? Like, where's your head at after that happened? Because I'm gonna tell you, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna quite say the game's over yet, but it's pretty close. And then as soon as they went 3 and out on the very next drive, I knew the game was over. I knew it was over.
When they blocked the field goal, and not just blocked it, but returned for 6, I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me.
Just shell-shocked.
I'm sitting there going, you know what I thought, Chris? Here we go again.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Every year we drive the ball. The first drive against Dallas, we always go down the field. Sometimes even score touchdowns. Thinking, it's going to change. And then the next thing you know, you're down 17-7. You're down 20-7. You're down 19-0. Whatever the hell it was awful. So I was like, disbelief is a good word, Chris. I think that's where I was. We just had such a good drive. We got all the way down just outside the 10. Looked like we were going in for 7 or so.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, they had 7. So I was in total disbelief that had happened. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like you didn't even. It almost felt like obviously not the same magnitude, and it happened at the beginning of the game as opposed to the end. But it almost felt like the shock that you felt with the Deshaun Jackson punt return, where you're like, "Are you kidding me? Did they punt him? Like, how did that happen? Like you were you were shell shocked." Bob, man, thank you very much. He says, Baddog, remember LT blew his Achilles in '92. He came back because he didn't want his career to end on the back of a cart.
I remember it well, Bob. I remember it well.
And then he played one more year, right?
Yeah, he came back in '93 and retired. And unfortunately, his career ended with a 44-3 loss to the Niners.
I remember that game.
Waters 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I remember that game as a kid. I remember watching that game with my dad. Court, thank you very much. He says, we ended our season with a playoff blowout loss against our division rival. Then we started our season with a blowout shutout, embarrassing loss. If this doesn't wake up the Giants, then nothing will. This is like Bane breaking Batman. And listen, I believe what the players say. Barkley said it's in the past. They're not even thinking about it. And I believe that because in the NFL, that's all you can do. You got to get you. If you're a player on the team, if you're a coach in the NFL, it's what Daboll always preaches. He's preached it since he's been here. When the team has an incredible win, he doesn't celebrate really. He says it's on to next week. We got to think about next week. And I think the team's going to adopt that mindset. If they have a blowout loss, it's the same thing. I don't know if it's going to be necessarily a wake-up call. I just think the Giants are going to be like, okay, that's in the past. It's time to move on. I think that's the mentality that this team has adopted, and that's all you really can do if you're a New York Giants fan. But, Corp, at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with you. We could have all the we could have the most momentum in the world and be pumped up and have all this, incentive, I guess, after we got destroyed the last 2. If we don't get better in the trenches, you could have all the incentive in the world. We're not beating those football teams. It's like a sumo wrestler going up against a third grader. Every time we stack up against the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles in the trenches, it just is. The Giants haven't sacked a Dallas quarterback in the last 180 minutes of football. I mean, my God. So until we get better in the trenches, it's not gonna matter. We could have all the momentum in the world, and that's where I'm at as a fan. I'm at that realization at this point, and I hate it. I hate that I feel that way. I was hoping for all the reasons I talked about going into that game, and I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believed if we weren't going to win, it was going to be damn close. I thought it'd be a really competitive game. and it's a wake-up call. And hopefully the team gets better over the course of the year. But I am not a guy that believes too much in the rah-rah and the motivation off a loss like that. I just think you got to put it in the past. Like Barkley said today, you got to put it in the past. You got to forget about it, and you got to move on. You got to think about the Arizona Cardinals. That's in the past. It's a long season. You got 16 games, Baddog.
Yeah, I agree. People are like, "Oh, you gotta get mad, you gotta get pissed," and that's true. You should be a little embarrassed, and you should play a little chip on your shoulder. But at the end of the day, talent's talent. You can't just take a guy that's not as talented as somebody else to line up against and go, "I'm mad now." So now that I'm having Neal, I'm pissed off. I got embarrassed. Now I can stop. Micah Parsons next time we play. Now all of a sudden, because I'm mad, I can stop Micah Parsons. No, that's not the way it works. These guys have just got to give. It doesn't matter about them getting mad. They got to get better. That's what they got to get. They got to be better. They got to learn. They got to, fix their technique. They got to do whatever they can do. But at the end of the day, talent is what it is. You can coach up talent, but these guys got to execute. And I said this in my, I don't know, I made a few videos this week, so I don't remember which video I said this in. But I think it was my post game video. The Giants still are kind of rebuilding. And, we won a lot of games last year because we didn't make mistakes. The Giants are not a good enough team to overcome mistakes.
Not against a good team.
Especially against Dallas. Yeah. But if you give up 6 points on special teams and 6 points, to the defense, you get up 2 touchdowns outside of another team's offense, you're probably not winning that game no matter who the hell you're playing.
Yeah.
You can't have false starts on 3rd and 2 from the 12. You can't have bad snaps that cost you 15 yards of field position. You can't allow somebody to come free because you miss a block and block a field goal. You can't allow.
We didn't execute. That's what it comes down to. We didn't execute.
Tons of penalties too. We had a bunch of penalties.
Pitiful.
You can't do that. That's stuff that didn't happen. And somebody made a good point on Daboll's press conference when they asked him about the timeouts. Remember how when we had Joe Judge, how many times he had to take a timeout because the play clock was running down?
Yep.
And the play clock always ran down. We always wasted timeouts. Well, they did that twice. We didn't in the first half. I'm sorry. We didn't see that last year. They were always up at the line of scrimmage, 18 seconds, go fit. Like they hurried up there. That way Daniel Jones could check off the defense, call an audible, do whatever. Read the defense. But when you're getting up to the line of scrimmage 5 seconds ago, you can't do all that. You can't make those adjustments. And even Daboll said, well, that was some miscommunication, blah, blah, blah. But these are the little things that don't show in the box score that the Giants did very well last year and did very poorly week 1. So they got to get better at just the fundamental stuff here. And I know that's a Joe Judge word, but, fundamentally we execute and executionally be fundamental. Like that's what the Giants got to do. You got to get back to fundamentals.
And John says thoughts on Neal and Glow coming into next week. I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean, it's the worst right side in the NFL by a wide margin. It was last year. Like last year, I think Baddog, we were by every metric we were a bottom 5 offensive line last year, and that was with having one of the best left tackles in the sport. You take Andrew Thomas off, we might be ranked 35th in a 32-team league. And, it's pitiful. So, John, not only are they the worst right side in the NFL, they are by far the worst right side in the NFL. I don't watch every game, but I can't imagine it being much worse than that. So they better get their head out of their butt. And we need Evan Neal to show up this year. We all talked about it. He was the X factor going into the year. If he plays like that and the interior plays like that, we got no shot. And I understand Dallas has a great pass rush. And I also understand that the Giants were playing from behind and they got away from the run way too early in that game. I understand all that. But they better get better real fast on that offensive line, or it's going to be a real long season.
Yep, it is. Gotta freaking do it, man. Sucks.
Giovanni says, even if we win this week, we're not coming back from a 40-0 loss. I don't necessarily agree with that. It's one game. It's in the past. You move on. But I think what that game cemented home for me is we're not close to the Cowboys yet. We're not close to the Eagles yet. But I think you could come back from that. I do. It's one game. If you beat Arizona, that's in the past. Nobody's talking about that anymore. You're on to the 49ers. You're 1-1. You're 500. You're back in it. So I don't buy into that. I don't buy into getting one blow. It's going to, this season's over because you got blown out week 1.
Well, it was 2002, maybe 2003. Well, I think it might have been 2003. I mean, a Patriots fan, I mean, not that it was the same thing, but a Patriots fan put on my post game got a lot of views, which doesn't surprise me. And that thing's still getting a lot of views. If you guys think that post game was something else, if we lose to the Cardinals, you may see something you've never seen. You're the best, whatever. But they, again, not the same thing, because definitely not the same teams. But somebody said, hey, listen, 2003 Patriots lost their first game 31-0, and they won the Super Bowl. So it's a lot of guys did say that to me that weren't Giants fans. To say, man, even Cowboys fans, like, dude, you guys played like shit, whatever. You've had a hard time beating Dallas, but you guys are better than that. And it's a long season, and it's one game. You guys will be fine. You're going to recover from that. It was a bad game. And part of it was a bad game. Part of it's just Dallas is a lot better than us. But I could not agree with you more, Chris. You just win Sunday, and you're 1-1. It don't matter how you got there, because if you beat Arizona, you're not thinking about the Dallas loss. You're thinking about you building off the Arizona win and playing a really tough game against San Francisco. You're not worried that you lost 40-0 in Dallas. You're like, we're okay.
It's on to the next. It's an on to the next league. That's all there is to it. So I'm not thinking, if I'm the Giants, I'm not thinking about the loss I had to the Dallas Cowboys going into week 3. That's over and done with. I don't even think they're thinking about it anymore. I think that's a game where Daboll went in and said, listen, we know we screwed up. We know that's as bad as it gets. Well, let's watch the film. Let's improve on what we can. But it's on to Arizona. That game's in the past, man. You just got to hope that they get better. But I don't think it has any bearing on the rest of the season in terms of that having a negative impact on the way that the team feels. No, I think if we win against Arizona, things could turn. Mackay says the DJ right now is very similar to the Eli hate before his Super Bowls. Trust DJ, Giants fans. He's the guy. He didn't even have a chance to compete last Sunday. Listen, you're not going to see me say, let's get rid of the guy. Absolutely not. Like you just said, didn't have a chance. Dan Jones did not have a chance. Now, was the second interception awful? Yeah. It was a stupid decision. It was similar to what we saw early on in his career where he tried to force plays. I understand it, but you got to be smarter than that. DJ's in a game where he feels like he's got to do whatever he can to keep them in the game, but you got to throw that ball away. He said it after the game. It was a mistake on his part. But overall, yeah, when you get pressured 15 times in the first half, you're not going to do very well. I don't against that defense. It's what the Cowboys have arguably the best defense in football. I mean, if not, definitely top 5. So, I mean, you go back to last year, they had the most turnovers in football in terms of created turnovers. The year before, they were first in that category as well. They had the highest pressure rate in football. And you're going up against our offensive line, which is a disaster. So once we got away from the run and started throwing the ball over the yard, DJ didn't have much of a chance with the way that we blocked Mackay. So you're not going to hear me argue with that. I'm not going to necessarily compare him to Eli. He's got a lot to do before he catches this guy. I know a lot of Daniel Jones fans may not want to hear that, but that's the truth. The guy won 2 Super Bowls. But I believe in Daniel Jones. I agreed with the contract. I want to see him here for at least the next 3 years, and we'll see, what we could build with him. But I'm not putting that. He's a part of the loss. He's the quarterback. The team put up 0 points. He's got to take some blame for it. But he was not the biggest reason why we lost that game. He wasn't close to the biggest reason why we lost that game.
When people say you got elite money, I even put that on Twitter today. I put the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks. I said, tell me how Daniel Jones got elite money. He's not even in the top 10. So he's like, oh, he was when he got his contract. That doesn't mean shit when he got it. Yeah. Where is he now?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow got $275 million. Now, I know Joe Burrow was in the Super Bowl. I get it. But what did he do Sunday? And I think I even put that on Twitter. So I put it somewhere. I was like, well, God, can you imagine if Joe Burrow played in New York and threw for 84 yards after getting $275 million? Nobody says anything about Joe Burrow's bad performance. Josh Allen threw 4 interceptions or 3 and turned it over another. I mean, he threw the ball all over the damn place. Nobody says anything about him. Right? Yeah. So it's just Daniel Jones this, Daniel Jones that. People want to hate on Daniel Jones. Now they have a reason. Oh, good, we got shut out. I'm so happy that I told you I was right about. If that makes you satisfied that you were right about.
Unfortunately, there's people that are more, there's a lot of people that are fans of themselves. And
yeah, there you go. Perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. They're fans of themselves.
No. It is what it is. You got.
I do want to ask this. What did you think? I mean, because we were talking about during the game. Why was Daniel Jones out there? Did you hear what Daboll said about why?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Bad Dog, and we should talk about that because I was only critical of one thing that Brian Daboll did all of last year, and that was the Adore Jackson thing. The fact that Daniel Jones out there was a disgrace. Yeah, disgrace. You invested $160 million in this guy. You're paying him $40 million a year. Daboll's reasoning for why they put Daniel Jones back on the field was he was trying to build something going into next week. Well, if you were trying to build something going into next week, if that's your logic, Daboll, and I'm sure that was his logic, did you think you were going to build any positive momentum going into next week when you pulled your entire starting offensive line and all of your starting weapons when they couldn't get open and they couldn't block for the entire game, and you had all backups in there? You had a quarterback that was getting destroyed all game. You were playing in the rain. You were down by 40, and you had your entire backup offensive line out there. To keep Daniel Jones in the game was a disgrace. And I still love Brian Daboll. I still am very happy he's the New York Giants coach, but I'm allowed to be critical of certain things. And yeah, I think that was a big, big mistake on Brian Daboll's part.
Yep, completely agree. When I did the reaction video to his press conference, he made that, we wanted to get something going. And I said that. I'm like, does it really matter what kind of momentum? You think losing 40-7 is better than losing 40-0? You had all your backups out there. What is the risk reward there? I'm like, I understand last year, okay, if he got hurt, you can throw him away. He's not yours. You just gave the guy a new contract. And granted, I recorded it before the Jets game. My microphone screwed up, so I had to do it after the Jets game. But I was like, well, you saw what happened to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that could have easily happened to Daniel Jones. And what was the logic? There's no logic. If you want to build momentum, play them more in the preseason. Let them get snaps going into the regular season. I was critical. I said, listen, I still love Coach Daboll, no question about it, but that doesn't make any sense. I'll never buy that. I don't understand the logic behind that. You had nothing to gain from that. Nothing. Because momentum does not go into the next game.
No.
You're taking a 40-0 drubbing and at least we got that.
The only
at the end, Chris. No.
The only thing that make any sense to me, I saw some people saying, "Oh, he was trying to teach DJ a lesson." Bullshit, nonsense. That wasn't what it was. The only thing that makes any sense to me for why he kept him in that game, which does not make any sense, but to try to make any sense of it, was that DJ said, "I want to be the leader. I don't want to come out of this game," which is great. I respect Daniel Jones for that. But if that's the head coach's job is to take Daniel Jones out of that game. No quarterback is going to want to come out of that game. They're the leader. They're trying to show representation. That's the only thing going through my head as to why he stayed in that game. Is he went to Daboll and said, "I want to be the man. I want to be the guy that takes the drubbing. I want to be out there until the clock strikes 0." But if you're Daboll, I don't care. This is your starting. If he goes down, the season is done.
Yep.
Finished. And to keep him out there in a game where you're down 40-0. Now, if he left the starters in, it's still a mistake.
Exactly.
But if he left the starters in, more understandable. Then I can at least buy your reasoning for you're trying to build momentum going into next week. I'm trying to get the first team offense a little bit of chemistry. We couldn't block them with our starters. You're going to block them with Matt Parrott,
right?
You guys do. Are you kidding me? So it was a disaster. It was a horrible decision. It is what it is. You hope he will learn from it. But it was a bad decision.
Yep.
Mark says run. Yeah. Mark says run the football by all means necessary. I'm with you. This week in particular, I think we got to get back to that. And listen, and I don't care how we win. If they throw it and DJ throws for 400 yards, great. I don't care. But if you're asking me, especially if Andrew Thomas is limited, I think it'd be stupid not to run the ball. I mean, my guy, come on. That's the blind side protector. Who's the blind side protector going to be? Matt Parrott's hurt. We talked to Patricia Train, and she said that they might play a Zudu at the tackle.
Yeah, it'd be bad.
You're going to drop back and throw the ball 40 times? Are you kidding me? So I think you got to run the ball. Especially, I mean, listen, as bad as Arizona is, they got after the quarterback last week. It's 6 sacks against Washington. Main event says, I'm in a fantasy league, and I want to know who should I start? The Jets defense against the Cowgirls or the 49ers defense against the Rams? I would go with the 49ers defense against the Rams. I know the Rams looked good last week, but they're still without Kupp. The Niners defense is otherworldly, and the Jets defense is really good too. But I would feel more comfortable with the Niners going against the Rams, especially with a team they're familiar with. The Niners play the Rams every year, twice a year. Even though the Dallas offense didn't look great last week, it was the defense and special teams. Dak only had like 140 yards passing, but because they didn't have to throw. But I think I'd feel more comfortable with the Niners. What about you, Baddog?
This is the other thing. It's in Dallas.
Yeah.
And the other thing is with Zach Wilson, Dallas could have a lot of short fields. Mm-hmm. This is not Aaron Rodgers back there. Aaron Rodgers beating the Cowboys everywhere. Zach Wilson's going to face one of the best pass rushes in the league. And I know the Jets' offensive line is better than the Giants, but it is still tough to stop.
And their offensive line is not very good. It's just better than ours.
I mean, everybody's offensive line is better than ours, but
Yeah.
it ain't going to be an easy day for Zach Wilson. I can tell you that. So something to consider that, the Cowboys might have a get it at the 20. So, yeah, I agree with Chris. I would start the 49ers defense against the Rams.
Yeah.
The 49ers defense is nasty anyway.
The best defense in the league. It is. If not, it's top 2 or 3. And Independence is concerned about the Cards D helmet-to-helmet hits. I'd be concerned against any D going into this week with the way our offense looked last week, especially like I've been saying if we have a limited Andrew Thomas. So I'd be concerned against any D. So I think the Giants have to be smart. They have to realize that Arizona is not going to be a team that's going to put up a ton of points. Don't give them extra possessions. Don't turn the ball over. Play smart football and try to win up at the point of attack with the ground game. That's the approach I would take going into this game. But hey, I'm going to hope Daboll. I'm not the coach. It's Daboll and Kafka's decision. But you got to hope that they come out with a good game plan. They find a way to win the game. Natrod says if Andrew Thomas doesn't play, who do we have? Yeah, we just said it. Well, I don't believe in anybody outside of Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, JMS was okay. He was okay, I guess. I mean, I think he had a decent grade from all. I don't think he had a great overall PFF grade. None of the linemen did. But yeah, I don't trust the rookie yet, regardless of the potential that he has and what I think he'll at least develop into an average center. But the guards, I got no faith in. And how could you have any faith in the tackles, especially if Andrew Thomas doesn't play? My God. So you got to play. In my opinion, you got to play conservative this week offensively. Chris B says Evan Neal, sheesh, 7th overall pick, more like 777th. Right now, you're right. I mean, I can't. It does not look like a good pick right now. And it's year 2. So I think it's early still. It's only 1 week in, but it's time to start ramping up the criticism with Evan Neal if he does not start to show progression and start to worry about it. If Evan Neal continues to look the way he's looked and doesn't have significant improvement, he can't just have a little bit of improvement. He has to have significant improvement because significant improvement for Evan Neal would be a slightly below average tackle in the NFL. That's how bad he looked, that first game. He needs to have significant improvement. And if he does not have it by the end of the year, I think you have to start exploring other options, but potentially moving him to the guard. A lot of people have talked about that. Like, he did not look good, Baddog. He looked very discouraging, but it's only 1 week. It's only 1 week. We got a long season to go. So I'm not gonna say that that's where I'm thinking right now, but he's got to show growth. This is year 2.
Yeah, it's looking bad. It looks even worse when you look at those picks and go, well, that could have been Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Not that that's Joe Shane's fault.
Right.
Because it's
could have been Garrett Wilson.
Right.
So you see what he's doing with the Jets. So Evan Neal better get his act together. Mike says every snap a jailbreak gives 8 haters joy. Yeah. Listen, man, there's people that love to be right. Javier says same thing if we won by 40, new week. I agree. Obviously, as a fan, you're going to be much more excited. But in terms of speaking as the team, that's what Daboll's expressed since he's gotten here. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. So obviously, we're super low off of last week, but it's the player's job to forget about it, put it in the past, move on, and get ready for your next opponent. You can't take anybody for granted in this league. David says, if the Giants or Andrew Thomas himself decide to keep him out this game, who do you play at right tackle? Parrott, Azudu, someone else tight end? Parrott's hurt too, isn't he? Matt Parrott was dinged up too.
He was dinged up. I don't know if he's out, but he definitely got hurt. Nicked up. It would probably be Azudu.
That's guess. What Patty told us. I mean, at least that's what she was saying. They were potentially exploring, and I don't know if he would play the right tackle or the left tackle. I don't know. Listen, I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it, man. Andrew Thomas is by far the second most valuable player on this team behind the quarterback, and without him, this team's.
I'll tell you, the MVP of this game's got to be Saquon. They
got to carry the team.
They got to ride that horse. I mean, there's just they got to run until Arizona stacks the box.
Yeah,
they really do. They've got to just give the ball to Barkley. I mean, he's your best offensive player. You got to give him the ball, especially when the team can't pass block. You've at least got to get them in a rhythm. Run blocking usually will help an offensive line pass block. And like you said, we got away from it way too quick. It was almost like they panicked when they got.
I really feel that's what happened.
And they're like, "Oh shit!" It reminded me a lot of when Jarrett Reese used to draft.
Yeah,
it was like, "Oh shit, my guy's going." Eli Apple. Oh shit, my guy's going. Eric Flowers. So.
That's how I felt after the game when I had time to think about it. I was like, Kafka and Daboll panicked in terms of the play calling. They panicked, man, to go the way that we ran the ball in the first drive after we got the block field goal. We fall down by a touchdown, and they all of a sudden they started calling the game as if we were down by 3 scores. And
that touchdown accounted for 3.
Yeah, midway through the first quarter, and I was like, it was just a disaster. You just hope that they get back to what they're good at, and you got to run the ball this week, man. You got to start grounding the ball, and hopefully that opens up the pass game.
Run. I mean, they did establish it that first drive. I mean, it was beautiful what they were doing. They don't want shit real fast, so they got to come out in Arizona, or if you're going to pass, it's got to be quick, short passes.
Well, and I think if we're able to run the ball effectively, that will open up some passing opportunities. But with Thomas out, you got to run the ball this week. Corp says I would have pulled DJ in the start of the third. I wouldn't have done it in the start of the third quarter. That's too early. But I would have started the fourth. I think I would have done it around the 8 or 9 minute mark. That's where I would have done it. I think I would have done it around the 8 or 9 minute mark of the fourth quarter. I would have had the mindset Daboll had. Let's get a little bit of momentum. Let's have something to build off of going into week 2 with the first team offense. But once he pulled everybody, Jones comes out. You don't have your pawns to protect your king. You sit your king. That's all there is to it.
If any starter should have played that for you, it should have been Evan Neal.
And I think he did. I think he did. He was really the only one, if I recall.
Oh, maybe he did. Maybe he did. It's just he looked like a backup.
Yeah. Our backup would have been better that game. I would have pulled DJ in the start of the third quarter. Aaron is a sample why you can't risk your franchise on a quarterback when your backup is a backup for a reason. I suffered an Achilles injury for the same leg and never played any sport again. Sorry to hear that, Court, man, but thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I mean, listen, I understand why the Jets did what they did. It's just like Baddog said, the Jets will jet, but they didn't give up a ton for Rodgers, and they had a win-now team with a not a win-now quarterback. Right. They saw an opportunity for a 3-year window, similar to what the Broncos did with Peyton Manning. It worked for them. Of course, for the Jets, it did not work because the Jets will jet. But I understand why the Jets did what they did. I don't think that was a bad move. It's just bad luck. Right. Dennis says, so many old linemen on free agency, and we're stuck with Mark Lewinsky. Yeah, this is his last year as a Giant, and hopefully he doesn't finish the year as one of the starters. I think you got to hope that – Bad Dog, that by midway through the season, Izzudu takes over his job because he's definitely not a part of the future, and you got to hope that some of these younger guys matures on the line because that's the long-term answer. It's not Mark Lewinsky. That's for damn sure. And Daz says, why are we not looking at free agent offensive linemen? Well, I'll tell you. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, they're free agents at this point in the season for a reason. If they were worth being rostered, they would be on teams. Could we add more depth on this team? Sure. You know, I know people have pointed, you just said Lyle. I'm assuming you mean Collins. People have pointed to Justin Pugh. But at the end of the day, is it really going to help this offensive line that much? We talk about it's about cohesion, playing together. It can't hurt it. They've been that bad. But I don't think if you go out there and add an offensive lineman off the scrap people of free agency, it's going to make that big of an impact. I think it's a unit. You have to hope. I'm not saying it will happen, but as a fan, you have to hope Evan Neal gets better. You have to hope John Michael Schmitz gets better. That's what you have to hope, that those younger guys that we invested picks in grow over the course of the season as they continue to play with one another. That Izzudu eventually, when he gets thrown in there, gets better. That's what you got to hope. I don't see a scenario, Bad Dog, where Joe Shane throws up the bat signal and we pick up a Justin Pugh and suddenly this offensive line plays well. I just don't see it. I think you have to hope that they get better over the course of the season.
Yeah, without question. I mean, there's no guy that you're just gonna. Yeah, I had so many people with the Daniel Jones thing. Oh, we could have taken that money and got a lineman. We could have got a better. Really? Who's out there? Because people don't just let really good Pro Bowl linemen walk off their team.
And if they do, they're Nate Solder, and we saw that worked out.
Correct. So what lineman were you getting with Daniel Jones's money?
Yeah, and by no means, by the way, I'm not against picking up a veteran, by the way, and I think they should, especially if Thomas is banged up. But I don't think it's going to make much of an impact.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Who are you getting out there that's really going to impact your team? Because they don't let Andrew Thomas's walk. Yeah. They don't let. I mean, they traded Laramie Tunsil, but they don't let them walk and just go, okay, Laramie, you can go bye-bye, or, Tyron Smith or any of those. They don't go, go ahead. We don't want to sign you. We don't want to just walk off. You're one of the best left tackles in the league. Just go. We don't need you here.
Yeah.
So, Zach Moore, you're holding out. Okay, go ahead. We'll just let you go, Zach. We don't care. We don't need you here. Come on.
We'll see.
Jason Kelce, you're just a center. We don't need you. Walk on. It don't happen. It doesn't happen. Teams don't let good linemen walk out the door.
It's the most valuable unit on a football team.
It is.
Not the most valuable singular position, but the most valuable unit on a football team. That's where everything starts. When you have good linemen, they stay. The guys that they let go, there's a reason they let them go. So whether it be due to injuries, whether it be due to the fact that they think they're a product of the linemen around them and they're not worth the money and they want to invest younger in the draft. But you tell me the last time when you think about it, there's been linemen that have been traded for because they were not happy with the situation they've been in. And maybe there's one or two instances you could point to. I'm sure there's a few, but there's not many where a team signs a guy, for high money especially at the tackle position, and they turn out to be really good because the team, like you said, the teams don't let those guys walk. They keep them. They don't let those guys walk. So
I see someone in the chat said, no one said that, Bad Dog Cap. Yeah, I'm sure you read all 2,000 comments on my post-game video. I'm sure you read all 2,000 of them. Nobody said it. You're right. Good job, buddy. Nobody said that. I pulled it out of thin air.
And Dan says, I think
go to my Twitter page and read it for yourself. Maybe you can't read, so maybe you don't know that.
Yeah. Tunsil, but wasn't Tunsil traded, Mr. Mayor, because he wasn't happy? Or was he?
Yeah, he was traded.
He was traded. Yeah, I
said 2 first-round picks, though.
Yeah, he was traded. I said free agent. He was traded. But there are instances. We're not trading for a guy like Laramie Tunsil, though. Those guys don't become available.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure they got 2 first-round picks for that.
Yeah, I think he was. Traded.
That's how valuable they are.
Yeah, and Dan says, I think we will win, but deep down, I'm scared. You should be scared based off the way we played last week. I'd be scared if we were playing a college team based off the way we played last week. So you got to hope they come out and they get back to what we hope and think they could be good at, and which I think with the limitations to the offense, especially if Thomas is out or banged up, is running the football. You got to hope that this coaching staff comes out with a good game plan and we win the game. That's all I care about this week. Got to prolong. You got to win this game. Can't drop to 0-2. Chris B says Arizona's a must. It's a must win. It's 100% a must win. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Well, am I going to say the season's completely over if we lose? I'll never say that 2 weeks into a season, but it's very bleak if we lose this week. If you drop to 0-2 and you lose your most winnable game, or at least arguably your most winnable game on the schedule, and you got the 49ers on deck, I mean, who are you going to – if you can't beat Arizona, I don't care if we have some injuries. If you can't beat Arizona, who are you going to beat? So this is a game we absolutely need to win. There's no denying it, and hopefully the Giants come out strong, and I think we're going to win. I don't know how strong we're going to come out. We'll see. But I think we're going to win. But what does that mean? I thought that we stood a very good chance to win for week 1. We lost 40-0. So we'll see how they play this week, man. We'll see how they play this week. DJ needs to throw it downfield.
This guy said pull it up. If I pull this up, I'm going to show you one comment, not because I'm not going through 2,000 comments. You donate $500 to this channel. If I pull this up right now, it's right there. If I pull it up, you donate $500.
Well, he ain't gonna do it. He ain't doing that.
Deal or cap? Is it cap? This ain't even my channel. You donate $500. Okay.
Wait. What?
And then I want to address Authentic too here. Because he says, why did I crop Daniel Jones off the list? I didn't crop him off the list. These are the top 9 highest paid quarterbacks. I didn't what? How did I crop him off the list? This isn't even my post. This is Law Nation's post. So how did I crop him off the list? This doesn't even come from me. It comes from Law Nation Sports. How did I crop him off the list?
I don't even know what the reference is. Crop what was
how can you crop the Daniel Jones off this list? These are the 9 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Where the hell did I crop him off the list? I didn't do shit here. This is just a picture I took and put it on there.
It is what it is.
What are people even talking about here?
It is what it is. Let's see. What's up, Rob?
And he also said that these guys not all. Did Kyler Murray have an elite season? I missed that one.
Kyler Murray didn't play last year. No, I mean,
he said didn't. Where did he say? Because I know he does not like Daniel Jones. I know he doesn't.
Well, yeah.
He hates Daniel Jones. Hates him. Okay, where the hell was that? I'll read it to you. Well, authentic. Wait, why did you crop Daniel Jones off the list though with the cry emoji? Didn't crop him off the list. Everyone on this list has had at least one elite season. No, Daniel Jones didn't get paid elite money. That's my whole point. Is top 10. If you think top third is elite, then you guys have very low standards because that is not elite in my book. Top third is not elite at all. Top 1, 2, 3%, that's elite. Top 43%, not elite.
To me, when it comes to, I think the word elite is an overused term. Just like I think the term generational talent is an overused term. You hear it every draft. The term elite is completely an overused term. To me, if I'm being honest, I mean, there might be 2 or 3 elite quarterbacks in the NFL, and there's one quarterback that is so much better than every other quarterback in the league that I find it hard to call anybody else elite. That's how much better Pat Mahomes is to me than every other quarterback. Right. By definition, elite means that you are so much better than everybody else. Well, to me, there's only one quarterback that's so much better than everybody else. There's obviously great quarterbacks in the league, and maybe there will be guys that could ascend to that level. But he's on his own planet in terms of talent and everything, in my opinion, at least.
But that's my point. It's not elite. It's not elite money. People say he's not elite. No, he's not elite. But people are saying he got elite money. I don't see it. That's the point of the post. If you are 10th out of a 32-team league, or tied for 10th, really, so 10th, 11th, 12th, all tied, top third, that's not elite. Elite is top 5 to me. But he's not even in the top 10. He's tied for 10.
Well, and we talked about this last week, and I don't want to get into this. I know the people that hate Daniel Jones are going to get into this conversation now, but where it really matters in terms of total guaranteed money, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th. He's 13th in total guaranteed money. It takes 2 seconds to look that up. That's what matters. It's not about the average per year salary. He's 13th, and that's before. And the only quarterbacks who are below him that are not rookies, because rookies can't be above him, are Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill, Rodgers, who just got hurt and took a discount before the year started. Otherwise, he'd be above him. Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Geno Smith. That's it. And they're all 32 years or older.
So I don't understand where the elite money thing comes from. Remember, he's a mid quarterback. He got paid mid money. I don't. That's where my disconnect is. He got paid middle of the road money.
He got paid starter quarterback money. That's what he got paid.
Correct.
Big Blue Shirt says, watch the Arizona-Washington. Most sacks were covered sacks. Yeah, I didn't. To be honest, I was watching the 49er game. I was at a bar. I watched it out of the corner of my eye every now and again, so I didn't watch that game intently. But I was shocked Arizona kept that game as close as they did. I'll tell you that. Washington barely won that game. Xerox says, evening, gents. Bounce back win this weekend. Easy. There's no easy wins in the NFL.
No, especially with this team. Nothing comes easy for us.
There's no easy wins in the NFL. And I'm not. That's it. There's no easy wins in the NFL. Let's see. Let's see. Bengals and Chiefs could end up 0-2 after this week. I don't even know who the Chiefs play. No, I don't think the Chiefs. Well, maybe that was week 3. I was looking at my knockout pool and I said I'll probably pick the Chiefs week 3. I don't even know who the Chiefs are playing this week. Who are they playing this week, Baddog? I don't even know. I know when I looked at the schedule this week, I was like, wow, there's a lot of competitive games. There's a lot of close games because I was trying to pick my knockout pool. I ended up picking the Eagles actually last minute because I just can't trust the Giants. That's who I was going to pick. And that's probably the best pick this week against Arizona. But Kansas City plays the Jaguars on the road. They could lose. I would pick the Chiefs, but they could lose.
That's going to be a good game.
Yeah,
that's a UFC championship game this year.
That's a good game. They could lose. It's on the road, Jacksonville. It's possible. I'd pick the Chiefs, but hey, I don't know if Kelsey's back this week. I don't even know. If he is back, I would definitely pick the Chiefs, but we'll see.
Boy, if you're doing a knockout pool, man,
I took the Eagles because I said to myself, a lot of people are going to probably take the Giants. I understand that, but they look sluggish. They're on the road. We'll see. I think I'm picking them to win. But other than that, man, you look at the games this week. You've got. I mean, who do you pick? The Bills. I think the Bills are the best.
Maybe the Niners. Maybe the Cowboys. Maybe the Cowboys against Zach Wilson.
Yeah. The Cowboys. I wouldn't feel overly confident with that, but yeah, I think I'd pick the Bills actually. But I wanted to save the Bills. I like the Bills at home against the Raiders.
Yeah. I might have. Yeah, if I was doing one of those, I might take the kid just because it is Zach Wilson and not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Let's see what we got. Let's see what's going on. Thanks for popping in the stream, man. But yeah, I don't want to make this a DJ stream because to me that game wasn't about DJ.
When they lose, that's all it ever becomes.
You knew people were going to come in here because they want to say, "Oh, yeah, he stinks." I don't want.
That's what it becomes when we lose.
Yeah, people want to be right. It's one game, and to me, it is what it is. You're going to disagree with me. That's fine. You hate DJ. I don't put that game mainly on DJ. It is what it is. People are going to want to say it was because he's the quarterback. He's making money. That's great. I got 16 more games. We'll see how they play. But if that offensive line blocks like that, you're gonna get your wish, or you're gonna get what you predicted. Daniel Jones is gonna stink this year if that offensive line blocks like that.
But you're gonna have to deal with them for at least a couple more years. So you better get used to it.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
You go root for the Jets. I don't know what else to tell you. There's one thing last year when he was a free agent at the end of the year. You can do whatever you want. But like I said, whether you love him, like him, hate him, can't stand him, think he sucks, think he's God, he's going to be here for at least the next 2 seasons. So you gotta suck it up.
And Michael says, "Hey guys, honest opinion, am I crazy for not being bothered by the 40-0? Yes, it was. it was a weird game and just didn't feel like a real ass whooping. No, I mean, listen, Michael, I'm numb to it at this point. So for me, the way that I decompress after a loss like that, I do what I did. I step away. I get my thoughts out there after the game. I talk about it, and I step away and I take a breather for 3 or 4 days. That's me. That's how I handle that. I want to move on. And I know for the next 3 or 4 days, people are going to be slamming the team, rightfully so. They got completely destroyed. For me, I want to move on. I want to think about the next week. So for me, for my mental stability, I get away from it. I don't talk about the team for 3 or 4 days, and I jump back into the saddle and we get ready for the next week because that's all you could do as a fan. And of course, we're talking about it tonight. But I just didn't want to be in that on Twitter. That's why I stayed away. I don't want to go on there and watch people brag about how they were right and cry about the team for 4 straight days. It is what it is. It's one game. But yeah, I'm bothered by it for sure. I'd be stupid. Well, not stupid. I'd be naive. I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't bothered by it because I talked about going into the season how big of a game that was, how important of a game that was, how important it was to play from within this division. Now, do I think we're as bad as we displayed? No. We're not 40 points worse than the Dallas Cowboys. And I think that game spiraled out of control for all the factors that we've talked about throughout this stream. But yeah, there's big causes for concern. And the major cause for me is the offensive line and the fact that we couldn't get any pressure. We all talk about, and granted, Dallas didn't throw a whole lot, but we all talk about Baddog, how we're all excited about this pass rush. We're all excited about Kayvon. We're all excited about Aziz. And Aziz got hurt, of course. We're all excited about Dex, Leo. Dex had one good play. Outside of that, I didn't say their names once that entire game.
Nope.
And every time we go up against, let's just stop thinking about the offense for a second, because everybody wants to talk about the offense. Let's talk about the defense. Every time we go up against a good offensive line, whether it be the Lions, whether it be the Eagles, whether it be the Cowboys, you don't hear from Dexter Lawrence. You don't hear from Leonard Williams. You don't hear from Kayvon Thibodeau. And that's concerning. That's concerning because to win those games against good teams, those guys have to show up. You have to be able to get pressure on the quarterback.
You need playmakers. That's what you get on defense. That's why you draft those edge rushers so high in the draft and pay them all the money, because those are your guys that make things happen, like a Micah Parsons. I mean, that's what you're supposed to have. And these guys, and Wink Martindale is a guy that's supposed to be dialing up all these blitzes to get pressure on the quarterback from different areas, and it ain't happening, like you said, against good offensive lines. So it's disconcerting because you want it, especially when your offense is struggling. You need your defense to make a play, like Thibodeau did against Washington last year. Our offense was doing nothing. We were down 3-0 going into the start of the second quarter. And Thibodeau got that gigantic play and scored a touchdown himself. And then we were able to kind of, get control of that game and win.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not good. That was not a good game. There was nothing good to take away from that. That is just one that you say that sucked. And like I said, I guess you're 1-1.
I guess if you're like really like dying to look for something positive in terms of an individual, I guess you could go to Deonte Banks. I thought he played relatively well in that game for a rookie.
And he played pretty well too.
Yeah, so but you want to Banks is a rookie, so that's a guy that I was definitely focused on in his first game going up against the. But like I just said, Dallas didn't throw a lot because they didn't have to. So I don't even know how much you could really take out of that. I thought Barkley played pretty well, but he didn't get much of an opportunity because we went away from the run after the early on in the game, and it's just a disaster. Like we've been talking about all stream, you rip it up and you move on. That's it. That's the only thing you could do as a fan, and you hope that's what the team does. Raphael says, breaking news, The Rock has just returned to WWE television. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. He's one of the few. I mean, when The Rock was prominent, that was the last time I was watching wrestling. So
here,
that's pretty cool. Chris B says, as a Cowboys fan, first off, good game. I don't personally think DJ is that good, but even I can't put a lot on that game on him. The O-line is awful, which is nice for us. Yeah, I mean, listen, Chris B, if you're looking at it from a unbiased lens and you're not just somebody who's looking to blame everything on Daniel Jones because you didn't like the contract, because he's the quarterback and you just want to pin everything on him, how could you? The guy was pressured 15 times in the first half. How could you? I mean, my God. Dude, am I saying he played flawless? No. Am I saying he played good? No, he did not. Okay, the team put up 0 points. But if you're looking at it objectively, when you block like that, there's not a quarterback in the league that's going to play well.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Will some play better than he did? Yeah. But that's not a recipe for success. So, I mean, it's just obvious.
All you got to do is look at Patrick Mahomes against Tampa Bay in that Super Bowl. Is there a better quarterback in the league than Pat Mahomes?
Yeah.
When that offensive line was getting shredded by the Bucs, he looked like a below-average quarterback. He is anything but that. He's the best quarterback in the league. He's probably the best quarterback we've seen in some time. By the time it's over, maybe our lifetimes. He's going to have to do a lot to pass Tom Brady, because Brady won more championships than any franchise in the history of Super Bowl era. But, yeah, man, offensive line has a lot to do with the quarterback's success. Are there other quarterbacks that would have done, like Chris said, is there other quarterbacks that would have done better? Yeah, without question. But they wouldn't have won that game. They wouldn't have more than 2 touchdowns, maybe 10 points. It wasn't Daniel Jones that JMS threw a bad snap to him. That wasn't his fault that happened. Yeah, listen, man, like I said, you get knocked around at the beginning of a game. There's no doubt in my mind Daniel Jones was gun shy by the middle of the second quarter, because I don't know any quarterback that's going to sit there and have confidence driving back in the pocket when every single time he is getting hit or hurt. It's going to be tough for any quarterback to survive under that kind of duress on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So I don't know what people expect. I don't. And nobody's been more critical of Daniel Jones than me. I've certainly been critical of Daniel Jones when I felt it was warranted, and I still did. I didn't say Daniel Jones had a good game. It wasn't Daniel Jones' fault. It was the entire team's fault. Daniel Jones did not play well. The interception threw across his body trying to force things was a bad play. He did not play well. But nobody did. But you would think the way people talk is like, it's all his fault. Yeah. He had a clean pocket. Everybody was running wide open, and he just screwed up. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
And what's going on? Pet, somebody says the DJ haters are still on the Malik Willis Express. And the last game we all need to get over to focus on the future games. Go G-Man. I'm with you, Pencil Man. You have to talk about it. The team lost 40-0. You have to talk about it. But I'm with you. It's a long season. There's 16 more games. It's on. My mindset is it's on to Arizona. And let's see if this team could bounce back. And we'll see. We'll see the fight that this team has going forward. We're not stat guys. We say it all the time. The stat guys are relishing in it. They're saying, oh, now he's not going to get the touchdown passes he needs to have a successful year because they're going to have to run the ball. I don't care. Win the game this week. That's all I care about. Go out there and come out with the best game plan to win this week. And with the limitations on the line, we're going to have to run the ball. So that's it, man. I just want to win this game. That's all that I care about. I want to get to 1-1, and then we'll worry about the San Francisco 49ers. That's where I'm at. I'll worry about the quarterback, not next year, the year after that. Because Jones is getting at least 2 years here. At least 2 years here, unless this team has the first pick, which is not happening. So I'll worry about, if he's not playing well, we'll talk about it in 2 years. But for now, Jones is your quarterback. You better get used to it. And we got to hope that this team gets better. We got to hope the line gets better. We got to hope the pass rush gets better, and we'll take it from there.
I don't care about statistics at all. Because
Yeah.
people that wanted to hate on Daniel Jones looked at the statistics last year. He only threw 15 passing touchdowns. I don't care. I just
And
want to
this is
win.
why I don't. This is why I don't go on Twitter, by the way, after stuff like this, because
Yeah,
it's just bullshit.
I don't. I just don't. Again, for me, I'm a different generation. I mean, I know I am. So
Yeah.
my mindset's different. But I don't care because I was watching football long before Madden, long before fantasy football. Well, maybe fantasy football was around in the 80s, but it certainly wasn't as prevalent as it is now. So you couldn't just bet at the drop of a hat with apps and all this other stuff. You actually had to either go to a sports book like in Vegas, or you had to have a bookie. So you couldn't do it the way you can now. So when I was growing up, not that I could bet in 1987, I didn't care. I just want to win. I don't give a shit what their stats are. I care that we have more points than our opposition. That's it. I don't care if Daniel Jones throws 3 interceptions and we win 10-7. I don't care.
Just win the game.
I'll say Daniel Jones played like crap. I'm glad we won the game. Or Daniel Jones could throw over 440 yards and 4 touchdowns, and we could lose 31-28. I'll be like, well, Jones played well, but we lost.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just want to win. I just want to win. That's all I give a shit about. It was nice last year. We won more games we lost. Won a playoff game. Felt good. Hadn't had that feeling in a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't care how they do it. I don't care what Jones' stats. I don't care. I just want to win the damn game.
I just want a team that knows how to win football games, and that's it, based off the team that they currently have. That's it. Chris B says, how does it take the Giants like 10 years to build an O-line? The same reason why it takes, the Jets 50 years to find a quarterback. The same reason why it takes the Browns, their entire franchise's existence in the Super Bowl era.
The Lions.
They haven't drafted well. They haven't picked out players well. The player development's been awful. You look at look at all the linemen we've drafted. They've all either been busts or guys that got a little bit dinged up and we let go, like a Richburg, like a Pugh. Flowers, of course, was a bust. We drafted, we signed Jeff Schwartz. I don't even think he played a game as a Giant. He got hurt.
I remember him.
Yeah. So, it's been a disaster. The player development's been bad. There's been constant turnover with the head coach the last 5, 6, 7 years. There's been no consistency. That's been the biggest culprit. That's why Giants fans talk about it till they're blue in the face because we have not been able to build an offensive line. And that, until we do, you're not competing against teams like Dallas. You're just not.
Well, we thought we were going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Andrew Thomas, got JMS.
I still think those guys are going to grow and get better, but
Evan Neal is the big question
that's
mark.
what I worry about.
You got your bookend tackles in the next 10 years, or you got one.
Yeah.
That other one's got to start playing better. It's just that simple.
And Country New Yorker says, why do the Giants have a hard time drafting or finding good offensive linemen in the last 10 years? Because we haven't drafted well. And I think a lot of it has to do with coaching. I think a lot of it has to do with continuity. You go back and look at the Giants' offensive lines over the last 10 years, 12 years. It's just been every year. There's at least three new offensive linemen. Not this year, but most years, 3 new offensive linemen, 4 new offensive linemen. Or maybe it's only 2 new offensive linemen, but they're playing in different positions. There's been no continuity year to year. These guys have not been able to build and come up together. We all remember the great offensive line that the Giants had in 07, 08. It was not always like that. It took years to build that, for those guys to grow and play with one another. So it takes time, and the guys have to grow, and that's the one thing I'm hoping these younger guys grow. And, of course, we missed on draft picks. Flowers a miss. Hernandez, a guy we were all very hopeful about. Miss. So you got to hit on draft picks, too.
Miss.
Yeah. So it is what it is, man. You got to hope these guys get better, though. That's what this year's about. These guys got to get better. The offensive line, man. These guys got to grow together. Yeah. Jason says it's time to move on. People are already jumping ship. Sometimes I wonder about these fellow Giants fans. Beat Arizona and go. That's it, man. That's where I'm at. Beat Arizona and let's move on.
What are you gonna do?
I can't tell anybody what for them to believe, but I'm not gonna continue to harp on it. We talked about it. The game's over. Let's beat Arizona. Jason says I would like to see more Carter Coughlin at the edge with Aziz out. He had some good reps against Seattle 2 years ago. He actually, it was preseason, and he's going up against second and third stringers, but he actually played really well in that third preseason game. He may get a couple of snaps. I don't know. I think Boogie will probably get a decent amount, and I think Simmons will play a bit off the edge too. He might be involved in the rotation with Aziz out. Certainly possible. We'll see what they do this week. And LeVar, stand up. New member. Welcome to the squad, man. Thank you for being here, buddy. Let's see. Gotti Style says, the annotated Baddog, check and see how many quarterbacks threw more touchdowns than Jones last year. I bet a lot of them didn't make it to the playoff. Yeah, plenty. I don't care about touchdowns. I care about wins. That's it. Jones last year, in my opinion, for the most part, did what he had to do for this team to win as many football games as they possibly could last year.
And that's what I think he was saying. That's what he was saying is that
yeah, I know that's what he's saying.
Yeah, they had better statistical seasons, but the Giants are in the Final Four in the NFC. A lot of teams didn't get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Hurts only threw 22 touchdowns. It ain't like Hurts threw 42 touchdowns. They made it to the Super Bowl. So, like I said, just find ways to win games. That's what you got to do. You got to win games.
That's all I care about.
If we got to the Super Bowl and Daniel Jones had a bad Super Bowl and we won, does it matter?
No.
If Daniel Jones had a great Super Bowl and we lost, does it matter?
There's authentic taking words way too literally. I don't care about touchdowns. I don't care about stats. I'll rephrase it for you, authentic. I care about wins. I care about this team being able to manufacture points, but playing in a style that is best for them to win football games. Yeah. Last year, that was slowing down the game, having long drives. That was our best opportunity to win football games. But authentic, of course, taking things way too literally and pointing. That's what he does on Twitter. Yeah. Gotti Style says.
I've been noticing that as of late.
Yeah.
Very, very literal.
Yeah. Gotti Style says, I have said that too. It's all about the wins to me. 100. That's it, man. I can't. I just want my team to be able to identify what they need to do best to win football games. Yeah. I remember people criticize Eli for throwing only 26 touchdowns. I don't care. Just win games, man.
Yeah. Amazing guy said trolls out. That's what happens when we lose. It was the same shit for 5 years.
Yeah.
Until last year.
Yeah. But. Let's see. Bet Diesel says 40 burger hurt. Mark of a good team is when they climb through adversity. Yeah, I mean, Bet Diesel. Not that I'm comparing them. They're not. But the year we won the Super Bowl, tons of adversity to start the year. We talked about that, right? 2007, they gave up 80 points the first 2 weeks. People were saying the same thing. I lived it. We're not doing that, what that team did. That team was great in the trenches. They ended up having a great defense coordinator with Spagnuolo. They had a great pass rush. They had a great offensive line. And, of course, they had playoff pedigree. I'm not comparing this team to that team. But people were saying the same thing. They were saying Spagnuolo doesn't know what he's doing. We gave up 80 points. Let's see what happens. It's a long season. Things change over the course of a year. Let's see what happens.
That's a good one. I should be using that. I should be using that when I talk about Dallas. Godson said the last time the Cowboys won, Stone Cold was making his WWF debut. So that's got to be one of my shots from now on. The last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the ringmaster. Yeah. Because that's what he came into the WWF as. So that's the last time he was. That's the last time they won. Stone Cold was the ringmaster.
And Bookend says our line favors the run period. Run the damn ball. I'm with it. Yeah, I mean, especially with Thomas dinged up, you can't expect this team to go out there and sling. I don't care who they're playing this week. You gotta get back to your roots. I agree with you. Let's see. I'd like to see the Giants gas teams. Yeah, that's what the best teams do. They're able to beat you both ways. You watch the 49ers. Look what they do with McCaffrey. You watch what the Eagles do. You watch what the Cowboys do. Pollard had a big game. Right? You're able to beat teams multiple ways. That's what the best teams do. Giants got to be able.
The reason you're able to do that is because you have a good offensive line.
Yeah,
that's why.
Let's see what we got. Yeah, I don't know how this became a Malik Willis discussion. We really talking about Malik Willis? The dude's a third string quarterback. Why are we talking about Malik Willis? The team's 0-1. We got our biggest game of the year coming up this week. We got to beat Arizona. Can we stop? The last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. What'd you say?
Is he still in the league?
Yeah, he's a third string quarterback, I think, for Tennessee, right? Because they drafted the guy who likes Mayo, and they got obviously Tannehill over there. So he's the third string quarterback.
They drafted Will Levis. That's right.
Yeah, they drafted Will Levis. So hell, who knows? Maybe he develops into something, but I could care less about Malik Willis. I care about the Giants. Why are we talking about it? Let's see. The last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, Benjamin Franklin was it seems that way. That's for damn sure. Yep. Let's see. I would love Thomas in there until we get a lead, then pull him. I think Thomas is going to – well, I don't know that, but I hope Thomas plays. I hope he's healthy enough to play. Let's see. We would have been in a world of trouble if Barkley held out, but he would have got his contract by now.
I don't know.
I don't know. It is what it is. Oh, Baddog.
Levis wasn't active last game, so he's
What'd you say?
third. Somebody said Will Levis was inactive last game, so he's their third string quarterback.
Well, he might be now, but they obviously didn't draft him as early as they did for him to maintain. I mean, who knows? Maybe he will be, but that can't be the plan all year.
The guy does put mayonnaise in his coffee. He should be
Levis obviously is the guy that I think they're molding to be the potential starter down the line. Whether or not it happens, who knows? You know, you could point to several second-round quarterbacks where that didn't happen, but maybe Willis is the second. So I don't care. I don't care. Why are we even talking about it? How does this become a topic? Oh, man. Let's see. Let's see. There's no loyalty with draft picks now. A team will punt you overnight. There's less loyalty, that's for damn sure, than there used to be. But the obvious reason for that is the salary cap. Teams need to capitalize while the guys are on their rookie salary. So if the team doesn't feel like, after 2 or 3 years that it's worth going through, they reset it. They know that that's their best opportunity to win football games is maturing on the rookie salary. So without the salary cap, it used to be a much different league. You used to give guys 5 years, 4 or 5 years to develop. It's a different league. It's a what have you done for me lately league. It just is.
It's true, because with 4 years, you're going to give those guys a new contract.
Yeah.
You can't. We don't believe it. Maybe they in the second contract, maybe they go somewhere else and they do develop under a different system.
Yeah.
It's hard to have loyalty when you're not winning. It's hard to say, well, we believe in these guys. We just got to give them a little bit more time. Everybody's always looking for the next big thing. I mean, just look at Arizona, right? They traded 2 draft picks to move up 5 spots to get Josh Rosen. The very next year, they draft Kyler Murray. And if they tank this year, you could be seeing Caleb Williams there. So you just, I mean, look at the Jets, right? They drafted Zach Wilson top 5 last year. They went out and they paid for Aaron Rodgers. So it really does. It is a what have you done for me lately league. It is, let's try to get this chip as fast as we can. And then once we get that, then we'll worry about it. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay on top for a long time unless you're really going to draft. That's why these teams that are constantly there, they're really going to draft.
It's not just quarterbacks, it's everybody. But I get it. I understand it too, because it's just the nature of the beast with the way that the league is constructed. Let's see what we got. I've been rocking with you all for 6 years for a reason. It's football. We keep our heads high and smile. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I saw your comment earlier. I didn't hide. I went live right after the game. I talked about it for 2 hours. And I said in the live stream, I'm not going to go on Twitter for 3 or 4 days. That's it. I'm not hiding.
Like I said,
I don't do this full time. I don't work for the New York Giants. So
I owed it to
the talk about the team.
I owed it to Cowboy fans. I even said that in my post game. Like, I'm not hiding. Yeah. I talked all that shit. Now I got to take a bite of that shit sandwich. I got to take my medicine. It is. I've been doing it for years, so it's nothing new to me. But they deserve to take a piece of me because I was harsh. Because I really thought we were winning, and we were not close. So I'm like, they deserve to take a shot at me.
I'm at the point. Let's just forget it. It's Friday now. It's time to forget about it.
Right.
I
agree.
Let's stop. Who wants to talk about the Giants after a disaster like that? I mean, listen, you talk about it. You say what you got to say. You get your thoughts out there. You move on. I'm not a guy that's going to dread and relish in the fact that my team's doing bad or it's just not me. It is what it is. Everybody does their own thing. Let's see what we got. GG Bro says, please have the Phillies win the World Series if the Giants. No, I'm not a Phillies fan. I don't want to see that.
I don't care about the Phillies.
Jake says, Deontay Banks hasn't conceded a catch, including preseason action, 4 solid games for a guy. I thought Banks looked good. But again, it's a very limited sample size. Dallas didn't throw the ball a whole lot. They had short field position the entire game, too, because of turnovers and everything else. So I think Dak only threw for 140 yards because they didn't have to throw the ball. So it's a limited sample size, so I don't want to read too much into it. But, yeah, I thought Banks looked pretty good. If I recall, I think he had a pass breakup in the end zone, too. I think he did. So, yeah, I thought he was one of the, I guess, these minor bright spots in that game. Like, if you could find any kind of bright spot in a game, I guess that was it in a 40-0 game. Not that it was like
he was a piece of tin foil buried under a pile of shit. That was
that was
the bright spot. It was I haven't seen anything like that. I mean, I always mention 1995. That was the closest thing to it. We lost 35-0. That same Cowboy team. I was all pumped up. It was Labor Day. They
That's
retired
crazy.
his number. Please, New York Giants. I'm looking right at you. Do me a favor. Stop bringing back old quarterbacks opening night when we play Dallas, because it happened to Phil Sims. You know, we got rocked. Then you bring back Sims, Hostetler, and Eli, and we lose 40-0. So it's like you tripled it, because you don't do that. And I know, listen, I stand by what I said too. Eli is better than any quarterback Dallas ever had. I stand by. I don't give a shit. I stand by that. I will stand by that. But you know, it don't work for us. It don't work with the Yankees either. Every time they retire a number, old timers day, a ceremony, we never win. Never ever win those games when they have ceremonies.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. They never win. Be the quarterbacks at home until we play Washington. We're usually good against them.
Usually. Hopefully that
Usually.
continues.
That's why I
Hopefully
said
that continues
usually.
this year. Yeah.
Said usually.
Jason says, haven't beat Arizona since 2014. Let's change that. I mean, I hope. I mean, that's crazy. Well, Arizona was pretty good the last time we played them. We were really bad. So that would make sense because we only play them once every 4 years unless we match up with them on the schedule. So, I mean, hopefully, Jason, we need to beat them this week. There's no doubt about it. Big Daddy says, we got punched in the mouth and fell apart. Move on and beat the pants off Arizona. Just, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'd love to see a convincing win, but there's no style points in the NFL. Yeah, it'd be nice. There's no style points in the NFL, though. Just win. Just win. Just win.
24-7.
Be nice. Be nice. It would instill more confidence in me. I don't even know, Bad Dog. Let's be honest. Like, I know fans say they want to see a 31-7 win, but if we blow out Arizona, 31-7, 31-10.
It's something going to San Francisco to me.
Yeah, a little something. But are you going to have that much more confidence that the team could beat good teams if they beat up on Arizona? I don't know. For me, just beat Arizona. Obviously,
beat Arizona get to 1-1. If they compete with San Francisco, then I'll start to have.
That's where, yeah. To me, that would be a lot more impressive. If we lose, if we give me the 17-16 win over the Cardinals and a 27-21 or 27-23 tightly contested loss to the 49ers over a 31-10 win against Arizona and a drubbing against the 49ers. Right. For me, that's how I'm going to measure this team. You beat a team that's trying to lose by 20 points. I don't know. It doesn't really instill much more confidence in me. Maybe it instills more confidence in the team, and that's a positive thing. But for me, as a fan and a guy that talks about the team, whether they beat them by 20 or 7, it's not going to make much of a difference to me. It's about how you do when you play the 49ers, how you do when you play the Bills, how you do when you play the.
Actually, that was my contention with Daboll when he said you're just trying to get some going. And I said, what's the difference if you lose 40-0 or 40-7? It doesn't matter. The momentum's not going with you to Arizona. Oh, look at we scored they gave us a gift.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm with you, Wilhelm. Just win. That's it, man. Just win, man.
Especially after Sunday, just win a game. Just win a game.
Yeah, there's no style point.
Washington, you think Commanders fans care that they almost lost Arizona? Do you think that they care that they played terrible? They care that they won, and that's it.
Yeah, and Craig, I agree with you. Like, that's what I'm hoping happens. I don't even know how much better I'd feel about the team. But I guess it's like, yeah, I mean, it would be.
I'd feel better.
I'd feel a little bit better. But I think for the team psyche, yes. I would agree with that sentiment. For the team psyche, yes. Beating Arizona by at least 2 scores may help them get a little more confidence in themselves rather than winning by 3 or 4 points. But if you're asking me, am I going to have any more confidence in this team if they beat Arizona by 17 or by 3? No, it's a bad team. I just beat them, and then we'll see how they can build off of that. That's my outlook. So I'm not going to get too high if you beat Arizona by 17 points. KN says, if we trade DJ right now, what can we get? You're not getting anything for DJ. It's hard to trade quarterbacks. He makes a lot of money. Even though he's not in it, like Baddog said, he's not an elite paid quarterback, but who? Maybe the Jets. That might be an example of a team that may be willing to do it because they're a team that feels like they're a super. But you're not trading him to the Jets, so how it's not going to happen. You're not trading DJ. DJ's going to be the quarterback. You're not trading DJ. He's going to be the quarterback. Let's see. Let's see. Jason says, I will respectfully disagree. We need to see a pretty solid win against Arizona. If we are tight going into the fourth quarter, that will be an issue for me. I just want to win. I mean, I'd feel a little bit better, but I'm not going to get high if we win by 17 points against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just not going to. And if we win, I'm not going to, even if we win by 3 points, I'm just going to be happy that we got to win. So to me, I'm going to have, I don't know. To me, it's more important how we do against the good teams. Obviously, I want to win, and I want to win convincingly. It'd feel nice, but that means nothing to me when you go up against a team like the 49ers. That's how I'm going to really, then I don't expect us to beat the 49ers, but if they could play competitive against the 49ers, that would go a lot further for me. We just need to win this game, Bad Dog. I just win the game.
I agree. Just win, baby.
Yeah.
Just win, baby. That's it. Just win, baby.
Let's see. Let's get the dub. What's up, God? Something. Thanks for popping in. Sean says, Tane and Bad Dog, our Giants need a victory against the Cardinals, regardless of the score, especially since we have to play the 49ers on Thursday night. That's it, man. That's my mindset. I mean, obviously, I'd like to win by double digits, but
yeah, it'd be nice to not have to sweat one out.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It would be nice calling the game to be able to relax and not have to sweat it out, which never happened. When's the last time? Because we didn't stream the Colts game together. I was at that game. When's the last time we had like a relaxing win where it was just like we knew the game was over, start of the fourth quarter? When's the last time that happened? We called the game together and we had that.
What was it? What was the second game against Washington? I felt like we had that one in hand.
No, wasn't that the game where there was the questionable pass interference call in the end zone at the end that Washington fans were complaining about? And we had the tie game against them the first time.
That's right. You're right. The second one was the pass interference.
I can't remember the last time. I mean, it was probably a Washington game, like Marjorie said, but it was a Panthers. I guess that was a somewhat convincing win, if I recall. Yeah, 2 years ago.
5-3 in that one.
Yeah, but I think it was pretty tight going into maybe.
Well, we were losing 5-3 at halftime.
Yeah, and then we turned on the Jets.
5-3 at halftime.
So the Panthers game, maybe. Yeah, maybe the Panthers game. Yeah. Russell says, I was at the Colts game. We didn't call that game together, Knicks. That's what I said. Yeah, but yeah, obviously that was a laugher. But we didn't call that game together. That's the first thing I said. Russell says, I actually disagree with a must blow-away win. The Giants are just trying to gel. We just need to. I mean, obviously, I want to blow out. We all want blowouts. We all want convincing wins. But there's no style points in the NFL. For me, the most important thing is you get a win. That's it. You move on. You worry about it's a week-to-week league. You move on. You get ready for the 49ers. But, yeah, I mean, I'd love to blow them out.
Just gotta freaking win.
Yeah.
God, they need some confidence, and a win will get them that.
They
can't go going to San Francisco in a short week, though. That ain't gonna get it done.
Sedan says, how long will the coaches watch Evan Neal get pounded this game before putting a tight end to help him? I don't know, man. They better help him. There's no doubt about it. I think they're going to come with a much more run-heavy approach this week, which will, I think, include 2 tight end sets. But we'll see. We'll see what the New York Giants like to do. But I think that was also a product of the fact that we fell behind as far as we did, and we just got away from what we should have done against Dallas, which was have a more conservative approach. We talked about it leading up into the game. We expected a ton of 12 personnel running the ball, getting Daniel Jones's legs involved, because we didn't trust our line going up against that pass rush. So I think it was also a product of the fact that they fell behind as far as they did. And then with the rain and everything else, it was just a disaster. But we got to move on.
Horrendous.
Yeah. What's up, Mets man? Thanks for popping in, buddy. And Allison, thank you for being a member. She says, hi, Chris. Any chance you would go to either Bills or Vegas game versus the Giants? Would you and Kevin stream the play-by-play on Spotify as well? Can you do that? I don't even know. You could live stream. I didn't know that. Can you live stream on Spotify?
I don't even know how Spotify works. I'm lucky I know how YouTube works.
Yeah. And Allison, I don't think I'm going to go to a road game this year. And maybe in the future, I don't think I'm going to go to a road game this year. I do plan to go to at least one home game. But I'm not going to go. I don't think I'm going to go to a road game, but those are great destinations if you go there. I think obviously Vegas, that's just an excuse to go to a game. And I think the Bills have one of the best football environments in the sport, or at least I've been told. I've never been there, but we'll see. Let's see. Don't worry, DJ is white. Bosa will show mercy. Jacob keeps asking me any more Bleacher streams. I don't know. They told me they'll reach out to me when they want me again. So I don't have anything pre-planned. They said they wanted me on week 1, and we'll see. We'll go from there, they said. You're going to both games. That's awesome, Allison. Enjoy it. Colts don't count. What are you talking about, Nikki? Oh, yeah, because we didn't call the game together last year.
Yeah, it had to be the Panthers game in 2021.
I think it had, yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty comfortable one.
I mean, we're up 25. We won 25-3.
Yeah.
I saw we were up 5-3 at halftime, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like last year, they won a lot of close
Nothing.
games.
Nothing. You had the Titans game, obviously crazy. Both Washington games incredibly close. The Packers game really close. The Ravens game really close.
Game's close.
The Colts game, like we said, was a blowout, but we didn't call it together. The Jaguars game was close. That came
Minnesota
down to the 1 yard line.
Game was close.
Minnesota playoff game was close. I'm trying to think of our other wins. Who else did we beat? The Texans. I was at that game, but that game was even closer than it should have been.
Yeah.
And what was the last one? I can't even remember. I don't remember. But yeah, we didn't have any blowout wins last year outside of the Colts game. That was the only one where it was like a laugher. Oh, Chicago early in the year. That's right, against Justin Fields.
Yeah. I don't think we blew them out either.
I don't think we did. I think that was the game where Daniel Jones came back in and we had to run Wildcat, wasn't it?
It might have been.
I think it was. I think it was the game where Jones got dinged up and then Tyrod got hurt.
Yeah.
So that game wasn't easy either. So we don't have easy games. Let's see. Bahamas is Acres. I'm going to see the Dolphins versus the Jets and then the Knicks Heat. Well, that's awesome, man. That should be a great time. Yeah, Knicks are gonna be a lot of fun this year.
Dolphins and Jets playing Friday? That's weird. That's a weird day to play.
The day after Thanksgiving? Maybe he's going to the Jet. Maybe the Jets play on Thanksgiving, and then maybe he's going to the Knicks game on Friday.
Luantis play the Lions or Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Only the Lions and Cowboys playing Thanksgiving, unless it's a Thursday night game.
Let me look at the Jets schedule. You got me curious, Bad Dog. Jets play.
They're playing Christmas Monday, which is weird too. But
November 24th, is that Thanksgiving? Is that a Thursday?
It might be a Thursday.
That's when they play the Dolphins. That's a Friday. They do play on a Friday.
That is weird.
That is really weird. I guess that's something new they're doing this year. I don't remember the last time the NFL had a game on a Friday.
I don't remember the NFL on a Friday.
They've had
that games was scheduled.
Yeah.
Were there any other games that day?
Let me look. NFL schedule. I don't know what week that is.
I don't ever remember that. I don't ever remember NFL playing on Black Friday.
Never. They've played games on Saturday late in the season when college football is kind of over.
College football's done, and obviously Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't remember them ever doing that.
It's a 3:00 game.
It's pretty cool, though, to be honest. But I don't I'm surprised because I'm pretty sure college football has a lot of games on that day. Usually, the NFL is not supposed to compete with the NCAA. That's cool. I had the day off, so that's great for me. You know, Mrs. Bad Dog goes shopping. Little Bad Dog ain't gonna want to do that. Little Bad Dog wants to stay home with Daddy.
That's the only game.
Mommy, I'm not going to Target. Mommy, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Marshall's, Mom.
That's the only game I'm looking at it. You got the 3 Thanksgiving games: Packers, Lions, Washington, Cowboys, and Niners, Seahawks. And then you got Jets, Dolphins on Friday. That's something new. They've never done that before.
That is. And 3:00 is an interesting time. I guess they figure everybody's going out shopping, and then they're gonna, then when you get back, you're good.
And Luann, $2 holla. What's going on, my man? Thanks for popping in. KN says, rest AT and make those mofos earn their paycheck.
They don't need to earn it. It's guaranteed. So
if they feel that AT could get hurt again, and they like Bad Dog said, I mean, hopefully we don't lose because of it, but he's way too important to the rest of the season. Like if he's not at least close to 100%, I would probably err on the side of caution. Especially with, you think about it, Bad Dog too, the fact that they got to play short rest this week. So if Andrew Thomas is limited in any way, shape, or form, what are you going to do? You're going to play him on Sunday at 4:25, and then you're going to ship him out to San Francisco on Thursday and play him?
Yeah, I mean,
if I'm Daboll, now if he's good, he's good. But if I'm Daboll and Thomas is even slightly hampered, I think I err on the side of caution this week. Because if you play him this week and he doesn't get hurt, you got to play him Thursday. So then you're going to ask him to play 2 games in the span of 3 or 4 days when he's not near 100%. So I'm with you, actually. The more I think about it, the more I think they got to be safe with Thomas this week, Baddog.
Somebody said everybody does online shopping. No, guys do online shopping. Women still like to go shopping. Women still go to stores and go shopping.
What don't they do? Don't they do the? What is it like? It's not on Black Friday anymore. It's like Cyber Monday or something.
Yeah, a bunch of for internet stuff.
Yeah, for internet stuff.
I'm just saying. Listen, Mrs. Baddog does that too, but women like to shop.
Yeah,
it's a whole thing with her and her family. Her and her sisters, her mom, they all go. They're insane.
Yeah.
But ladies still like to go to the stores. They like to try on their clothes. They like to smell the perfumes and go to the makeup counter and do all that. It's still what they do.
Joe, he might be playing, Joe. I mean, the injury report
today. We're older, so it could be just an older person thing. I don't know. I don't go out. I can tell you that. I sleep my ass in, and I'll be watching the Jets and Dolphins at 3:00.
Yeah, that's cool that they got a game on Friday. Joe, I don't think I get off for Friday. Actually, I don't even know. Well, you're government. We probably have the same holidays. Did we get that day this year?
You should. Black Friday, yeah, of course.
Yeah, then we must. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't remember last year if I got it, but all right, good, because I always want the day off after Thanksgiving. Joe says he's playing. Thomas, I mean, today he was questionable, so I don't know what that means. We'll see. I hope he plays, but at the same time, I think you got to be smart too, being that you got another game in 3 days. Yeah. Let's see. Thoughts on Gannon having experience against us? Yeah, of course he was with the Eagles last year, played us for 2 games. I mean, yeah, I guess you worry about that a little bit, but listen, at the end of the day, I don't think it would matter if he had experience against us. He's one of the best DCs. Well, Eagles fans didn't like him, but the Eagles had 72 sacks last year. And the Cardinals defense definitely impressed last week in a game where most people did not think they would. But I don't think you need experience going up against our offensive line, especially if Thomas isn't playing. So I'm much more concerned with that than Gannon having experience against our offenses, or just our line in general, against any team, especially if Thomas isn't playing. But yeah, I guess that's a little bit of a factor. Gannon
I guess for me, it's not even the fact that he has experience against us. It's the fact that his Eagles had 72 sacks last year, so he knows, experience against us or not, he knows how to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
We saw against Dallas, they had no problem getting to the quarterback. So, I mean, those are my listen, I don't care who the hell we're playing authentic. I'm going to have, what's the word I'm looking for? Trepidation or whatever. I'm just put it this way, in layman's terms, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared about any opposition's pass rush, because even if it's not a good pass rush, it could look like one against our offensive line. Our offensive line's pass blocking is not good. And
yeah,
that's putting it nicely.
That's why
obviously Arizona's not Dallas, but still, if they get off to that start and they get a couple 3 and outs, then it's going to sit there, and then the offense. I mean, again, we talk about confidence. If you're not a confident unit and you're going out there going, Daniel Jones, all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to get hit again. I'm going to get hit again. Then we're going to see the check down to Barkley. You're going to see the check down to, Isaiah Hodgins for 3 yards. And the other thing is, Chris, the Isaiah Hodgins play, I mean, we're already lost, but he gets like a 26-yard and he fumbles.
Yeah.
I mean, everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. Our biggest offensive play of the night.
Yeah. That was our only 20-yard play. The 20-plus yard play, something that we were harping on going into the year, and we fumbled the ball. It was a disaster. Danny Simon says, one last time for trivia, who was the last Giants offensive lineman to make first-team All-Pro? Was it, I would guess, if I had to guess, I would say either Neal, O'Hara, or Snee. I would say one of those 3 from that team. I'll go with Snee.
I'm thinking it might even go back farther.
You think it goes further than that?
I think it might go back to the. Wow. I'm trying to think. God, that's a really good question.
Because I mean that offensive line definitely deserved the first teamer.
I mean, I'm thinking like the Jumbo Elliott days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, excuse me, still under the weather. Yeah. kid goes back to school, the germs come flying. Chris Snee. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he had a couple of All-Pros. I didn't know if he was a first-team All-Pro, but yeah, I mean, like that 2008 offensive line, they all deserve first-team All-Pro. That line was insane, but yeah, that's crazy.
Good.
Yeah, Thomas was close. He was second All-Pro, but we'll see. Arizona's offense wasn't great, but I didn't think their defense was half bad.
Yeah, their offense stinks. I mean, it's Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. Giants not beating San Fran and can't go 0-3. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Realistically speaking,
I'll tell you though, that would be a total Giants thing to do, to lose to Arizona and beat San Francisco.
That would be, but
that is a total Giants thing to do. Let's not do that. Let's just beat Arizona.
Yeah, it would be, but yeah, obviously that's gonna be a really tough game. We knew that going into the year, and as good as Dallas is, I think the 49ers are even stronger at those, where Dallas is strong. I think San Francisco is even stronger in terms of the pass rush and the offensive line. So that's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Let's see. What if the Giants drafted Parsons instead of Tony, and we had Parsons and Tibbs?
We wouldn't have to.
Yeah, I don't think we would have drafted Thibodeau. We probably would have drafted
alignment.
Let's play the what if game. If the Giants drafted Micah Parsons, well, we'd only have one pick. We wouldn't have two. So yeah, we would have taken Neal.
We don't know where he would have picked the next year either.
That's true, because Parsons did have a big impact with the Cowboys. We would have taken a lineman, though. It was a rich tackle class.
Yes, we would have taken a lineman.
I don't think we would have been picking much further than maybe 10 or 11. Especially because DJ got hurt.
Wu, one of those guys.
Yeah, probably. DJ got hurt. So it would have been Charles Cross. It would have been Evan Neal. It would have been one of those guys. It would have been one of those guys if we took Parsons. Let's see.
Yeah, God, I would have loved to have had.
Well, so we wouldn't have taken Slater because Parsons. It was either Parsons or Slater. They were in the same draft. Yeah. I would have been happy with either one. So it is what it is. You live and learn, but it didn't work out, or at least it looks like it's not going to work out. Rob says defense is the key to this game. This win or loss will be on the team solely. I mean, listen, if you lose to Arizona, I mean, who are you going to beat? I mean, you got to win this game.
You're right, though. The defense they need to get after Josh Dobbs. I mean, this guy is, not. I mean, he just got there. He didn't even know the receivers' names. I mean, that was against Washington. Obviously, he's had a week of practice, but this guy's not like he's been there for a year. He's still brand new and still trying to figure out Arizona's system. And he's a career third-string quarterback. There is no excuse. The defense needs to make.
You got to win this game. I mean,
defense needs to make some plays. If your offense continues to struggle, the defense needs to make a play, give us a short field, and maybe give us some momentum.
You got to play to the strengths and the weaknesses of your opponent. The weakness of the Arizona Cardinals is definitely their offense. They have a defensive-minded head coach. They got Dobbs at quarterback. So you got to pick on that, right? That's definitely the weakness of this team. So I agree with you. You got to put pressure on Dobbs. You got to try to create some turnovers. And on offense, limit the mistakes. Get out of there with a win. That's what's got to be the game plan this week, especially with a hampered-up team. Judge, I think he would have been here. Judge would have still been here if we drafted Micah Parsons. There's no doubt about it. We would have won at least 6 or 7 games, probably. It was year 2. Obviously, the team fell apart when Jones got hurt, but probably.
You might.
Yeah, I just went out for a second, but yeah, he would still be here if we drafted Parsons. So I don't know how good that would be, but he would still be here. Calvin says, best of luck this weekend. Yeah, man, best of luck to you too, man. I appreciate
you. He's a Cards fan. Calvin is.
Oh, okay.
He's a Cards fan.
And Kayan says, we lose to Arizona. We are soft as blank. Charmin to.
Yeah, please don't make me break that out again.
I don't even want to think about.
I was going to break out the target bag again and put it over my head, but it wouldn't have been fair to Cowboys fans. I should have to look them in the eye after.
If the Giants lose this week, it's going to be.
The bag may come out if we lose this one. The bag may come out. The toilet paper may come out. It may. We just got to win. I don't even.
Well, I listen. I'm not even going to say I'm confident we're going to win because we all, not just me, but nobody thought we were going to lose 40-0. I think everybody had more confidence in the Giants than that result. But it is what it is. I just hope we win. I think we will.
I take another bad year, Chris. I can't do it.
I think we'll win.
Can't take another 4-13. I can't go through that again. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
I think a line change will happen after the Thursday night game. Not before it, because it's 2 games within 4 days. So I think we just got to throw out there who's ever healthy right now, but not before it. But yeah, I could see a change after that, because it's almost like a mini bye week, because you have 12 days or 11 or 12 days between games. We play Monday night against Seattle after we play Thursday night against the 49ers. So if the line's doing really bad, yeah, I could see that would be the week where you would want to make a change, because it's almost like you have 2 weeks to prepare before the next game. So yeah, I guess you throw a Zudu in there, but I don't know how much he's going to do for us, but he can't be worse. He can't be worse.
Everybody else, like, just anxious to get this game over with. Like, I was anxious to play Dallas just because I was anxious for Giants football and I was hyped up about it. Now it's like I'm just anxious to get this over with. Like, I just want to get this over with. And I know somebody mentioned this. It was either in my chat or this chat. This week has seemed so long.
Yeah.
Like, this week has seemed like it's been 12 days.
It's been torture.
It has just been, exactly. It's just like, please, I just want to get to the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
I just want to play again. I don't want to, and we can talk about, we got to forget it. We got to move on, and we do, but still, it's still fresh in our minds because we hasn't played a game since. Like, after Arizona, then we can't worry about Dallas. But right now, at least for me, that 40-0 is still burning in my skull. It's still there. And until we play again, that's going to be there. Until 4:25 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, I can't stop thinking about that shit and how bad we looked. And I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
We got to move past it. We got to get a win. That's it. We got to get a win.
As I'm saying, I just want to play. I just want to see them play again. I want to, for my own sanity, I want to see them. And I know it's Arizona, but I want to see them play and go, okay, they're not as bad as they seemed. They're not that.
Obviously, I want a convincing win. I think when I said what I said, it's more so to do with having a convincing win against Arizona is not going to move the needle for me in terms of it's going to feel good. And I'm going to say, okay, maybe we'll build some momentum, but they got to compete against good teams. But before I start worrying about them competing against good teams, they got to win this week. Because if they lose this week, it could unravel. Let's be honest with ourselves. It could unravel real fast.
I just want to win.
Got to win this week.
All these people, Daniel Jones doesn't need to be a hero.
Yeah.
You don't need to be.
Yeah.
You don't need to be Patrick Mahomes to win Super Bowls. We've seen players that are not that. He just needs to be smart. And last year he was. And again, he pressed. I think the whole team, again, maybe the team believed their own hype a little bit. That's the worst thing that happened to a player. Me being hyped up, I'm a fan. I'm supposed to be hyped up. I'm supposed to think we can be.
Yeah, of course. That's different.
But when you're a player, you can't be too, high on the horse because you'll get humbled real quick. And I don't want to say they believe their own hype or they thought they were better than they were. Whatever happened, that came crashing down. They did get humbled, and now they get to get back to basics, and they got to just beat a team in Arizona that they should beat.
Yeah. I don't think it was that. I honestly don't. I don't think it was a team that bought into their hype. I just think it was a combination of everything went wrong at once. Obviously we're not
prepared though, Chris. They look lazy.
I think they got a gut punch, and then once they got the gut punch, everything unraveled. I think they came out with a good first drive. They came out with a good game plan, and we weren't beating that team, especially with the way our offensive line looked in that game. But I think the team panicked. Both the players, the coaches, and the team got away from what they should have been doing in terms of running the football.
Lethargic and like out of shape, and just they didn't look ready.
Yeah,
and that concerns me. I don't like. Yeah, Dallas is more talented than the Giants. Nobody's arguing this, but like you said, Chris, Dallas is not 40 points better than us.
No, come on,
40 points, maybe 10.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, the line was 3. So I just want to play. I just want to see the game on Saturday. I need to get this Dallas shit out of my head. It's been killing me. And part of me being on Twitter, again, Dallas fans deserve to have their piece of flesh from me. I'm a man. I stand here. I take it. But for me, instead of like everybody handles it differently. Like, I need to come on YouTube. I need to be on Twitter. Like, I need to. It's cathartic for me to get it the hell out of my system
Yeah.
and complain and bitch and moan about it because it's kind of how I handle it.
Yeah.
Because remember when I was growing up, this team was good for 27 years. Yeah, they had a hiccup now and again. They sucked in 92. They sucked in 96. They were, but then in 95, 96, they sucked. In 97, they were in the playoffs. 98, 99, they sucked. 2000, they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
2001, they weren't good. 2002, they were back in the playoffs. 2003, 2004, they weren't any good. They were in the playoffs for the next 4 or 5 years in a row. They won a Super Bowl. Then they won a Super Bowl a couple years later. 1984, when I started watching in 2011, that 27-year period, this is one of the best teams in football. They won 4 championships. They won a number of division titles. They won a number of playoff games. And then the last 10 years is the equivalent of what my dad experienced in the 70s and what, guys that are older than me experienced, the generation before me experienced in the 70s when they couldn't get out of their own way. So I'm not used to that. So I don't like that. I don't like that. I love the Giants. I freaking love the Giants. And to see them, it just sucked. It's bad. It's bad. That's why last year was so, even though they were only 9-7-1, listen, they were only 9-7 when they won the Super Bowl in 2011. But just to see them win games and the way they won games against teams they probably shouldn't have beat and they wouldn't have beaten years previous to get into Minnesota, and I don't care if people would say Minnesota's defense sucked, to win a playoff game on the road, it felt good. That felt good to me. I have not seen a playoff win in 10 years. It felt good to go, oh, look at the Giants. Look at the Giants getting positive freaking, headlines for a change.
Well, last year was one of the most fun years I ever had as a fan. Because it was the first time since I've been talked about this team on YouTube where they were good. It was completely unexpected. Those are always the most fun years where it comes out of left field, where you go into the year with limited expectations and the teams, exceeds them. So it was a blast. This year, you knew, obviously, that's what being a fan is. You can't go into the year with lowered expectations. So you go into the year thinking, yeah, this team has something to build off of, and it's a long season. We got a long way to go. But hey, listen, the way I looked at it is the thing that was most deflating for me in that game. I mean, obviously the score is horrible, but the thing that was most deflating outside of the offensive line for me, which was the biggest thing, it was the coaching. That was the most deflating to me because I talked that up for months. I said Brian Daboll I still believe Brian Daboll. I think he's great, but I don't know. The coaching to me came up way short for everything we discussed in this stream, and have 2 or 3 months to prepare for that game and just get completely thrown off your game and your game plan after you get punched in the mouth after a blocked field goal and you just let it completely spiral out of control.
Yeah, it was bad.
That to me, the coaching in that game was just pitiful. And that to me was the most, outside of the offensive line, that to me was the most deflating thing because listen, I know if the offensive line doesn't show up this year, we're not going to win many games. We play too many good teams. And I know if the coaching doesn't show up like it did last year, we're not going to win a lot of games. We're not more talented than most teams. We're just not. We're not there yet. We have to be able to outcoach these teams. And for him to get just completely dismantled in that first week was not inspiring.
And not only that, again, the decision to leave Daniel Jones in there in a game which was already decided when you when your backups in there, that was just all the way around. The whole thing sucked. The whole thing, everything sucked in that game. Everything.
Yeah. And Pete says, you got to be kidding me with Aziz is already missing a game. If he misses significant time this year, I'm going to lose my mind. Well,
don't count on it, Pete. You won't be disappointed.
Pete, I hope you're wearing airbags or something to protect you because you're going to be, don't count on it. I think he's definitely becoming one of those players that unfortunately, and I hope I'm wrong, but usually if this happens consistently, especially early on in a career, it usually becomes a pattern. Not always. And I hope that won't be the case with him, but it's happening again. So hopefully it doesn't continue, but I'm not inspiring after the first week.
I love Aziz, but like I said, I'm just about done with it. I can't count on the guy anymore. If he's there, great. If he's not, I just expect him to not be there. So hopefully Isaiah Simmons can fill that role and be effective. I just can't count on 51 anymore.
Yeah. That's it. But guys, we went a little bit over tonight. Wanted to get our thoughts out, talk about the game. Obviously, we knew people were going to want to come in, give their thoughts as well. I'll be live tomorrow with JD, like I did week 1. So looking forward to that. And then of course, Baddog will be on the channel. 4:25. I think it starts at 4:25, right?
Yes,
So we'll
sir.
probably go live at 3:55, 4 o'clock, whatever. Leading up into the game, and then hopefully we're celebrating a win because that's the most important thing. I want to get that loss out of my mouth. Like just the feeling of being under 500 for the first time when we, in over a year, it's just sickening because it felt so nice to be able to not have to feel that way all of last year. Something that, which is the craziest stat to me, is we had not been over 500 at any point in any season after 2016, and to spend all of last year over 500 and to go right under the mark to start the year, I want to get that taste out of my mouth. I want to get back to that 500 mark and hopefully get over it as soon as possible. I know the 49ers are going to be tough, but got to get this win. Got to get this win.
Sucks being 0-1, but it's not the fact that they lost; it's the way they lost. If they would have lost, I mean, it always sucks losing to Dallas and Philadelphia. It always sucks. It always sucks. It sucks losing to anybody, but those two teams especially. It just to not even compete.
Yeah.
I mean, have that game be over in the first quarter. That's what hurt the most. Is they weren't even competitive. It's the way they lost. If they would have lost a tough game, 31-27 or 23-20, it still would have sucked. But you could say, okay, we're there. If this or this happened, we're close. We're close to that.
Yeah.
To lose the way we did, to lose in convincing fashion, more than convincing, that's what hurt the most, especially after all that build up, all that hype, all that waiting. That was just a bad game. So yeah, we got to put it out of our mind, and
Best way to do that is get a win. Get a win. That's it.
Yeah, 420, whatever the hell. Big Boost is 4. I thought it was 425. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is.
Yeah, if it's 4:04, we'll go live at 3:30. What if it's 4:05? We'll go live at 3:30. So we'll be live at like a half hour before the game. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, you guys know Baddog if you're on here.
He's right. It is 4:05. He's right.
Yeah, so we'll be live at like 3:30. We'll be live about a half hour before the game, talking about it, recapping some of the 1 o'clock games. Maybe there'll be some surprises around the league, but I'm excited. I'm excited to call the game. I'm excited to get back on the right track and get a win. Any way, shape, or form, get a freaking win. Keys to the game is simple for me. It's Barkley and Jones, their legs. Yeah, establish that ground game, limit turnovers, play to the weaknesses of the Arizona Cardinals, which is not giving them extra possessions because we know their offense isn't going to light the team on fire. Get out to an early lead. That way Wink could show, get some pressure against Dobbs. I think that allows you to create some turnovers. And then maybe that game spirals out of control for them where they have to get from behind for 2 or 3 scores and we open it up. I think that's how it becomes a possible blowout game. I don't expect the Giants to go out there and throw the ball around the yard like I said all stream, but if we could get ahead by 2 scores, yeah, I could see that game getting really ugly for Arizona. But it's about setting the tone, playing smart football, ground and pound, and getting them into passing situations. So hopefully our pass rush could get home against a much weaker offense.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, Barkley's going to be huge. We're going to need to ride him. Like we did against the Texans. He might have to carry the ball 32, 35 times. I don't care. Our line needs a run block. You got to run block. A lot of times those guys like to run block. Linemen like to run block. Your best player on offense is Saquon Barkley. So give him the damn ball. As far as the defense goes, you have to try to help your offense. You have to try to punch the ball out. You have to try to get a strip sack fumble. You have to try to force an interception. Something to maybe get your offense going where you get a fumble and you recover it at the Arizona 9 and you got first and goal, or you get it inside the 20 and you're able to score a touchdown. Something. But we cannot play from behind in this game. Like you said, Chris, we got to get off. We have to get the lead. We have to make them play from behind. We have to make them become one-dimensional with Dobbs at quarterback. We can't be in a street fight with these guys.
Yeah.
The Giants should be able to beat these guys, and they should be able to control this game. And if they can't, it's really going to be a long season.
Yeah. Yeah, that to me, I could see a blowout, but I'm not going to predict it. They got to prove it to me, but that's the way. Like, I don't expect it to be a blowout where we throw for 400 yards because I think we're going to get back to our roots. We're going to run the ball and play off of that. especially if Thomas is limited. But that's how it could become a blowout if we put them in situations that give us opportunities to create turnovers. And hopefully we do that, because last year we didn't do that. We didn't create turnovers. We only had 6 interceptions all of last year. 2 of them came in one game against Dak. So outside of that, we only had 4 interceptions in the other 16 games. So that's something that I'm hoping improves this year. It did not start to improve week 1. We got to create extra possessions this year if we expect to win games. Nod says 1991 Lions lost 45-0 and still went 12-4. Listen, I mean, I'm sure you could point to several instances where teams lay an egg and then they bounce back and they have a good season several times. It's the NFL. There's shocking games every week. That's why people love it. I mean, nobody thought we were going to lose 40-0. Most people thought we were going to lose, but not in that fashion. But it is what it is. Hopefully we build and we get better over the course of the year. It's 1 week in a long season.
Yeah, not a lot of people thought Detroit was going to go into Kansas City and beat them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys just got to hope that what people think this week happens, because I think most people think we're going to beat Arizona. So we better.
Yeah, exactly.
But otherwise, in a New York minute, things get really ugly. But Baddog, close it out, my man.
Hey, listen, guys, that one, girls, very tough week 1. I don't think there's any question about that. Nobody took that loss harder than yours truly, maybe as hard, but that was brutal for me. Like I said, I talked a lot of shit, a lot more than recent years. So sometimes that happens. I'm a trash talker at heart. It's how it goes. I hate the Cowboys. I hate the Eagles. I can't stand them. And I hate the fact that they're so much better than we are. It really pisses me off to no end. It really does. However, we just got to win a game on Sunday. That's all we can do, right? We can't worry about what happened there. 40-0, 4-0, whatever the hell it was. It's one loss. You get a win in Arizona, we're 1-1. Most people pick, maybe not Giants fans, but most people picked us to lose anyway. Yeah. So just get the 1-1. Take it one game at a time.
There's no style point. It's not college football, so
it's
not. That's it.
You're 1-1 after 2 weeks. You can live with that. So, none of these mistakes. No bad snaps. No false starts in 3rd and 2. Don't let some guy come unblocked and block your field goal. No wasting of timeouts. Little things. The little things you did well last year, you need to do well in this game. You'll win it. You're more talented than Arizona. So go in there and be the team you're supposed to be.
Yeah, and I saw Al pass this. I'm going to say no. Strongly no. Hey, maybe that's me showing too much confidence in my team. But I know. I think Daboll's going to be here for a while. I think he's a damn good football coach. But we'll see. I loved what he did last year. I loved what he got, but didn't have a great game week 1. But I am far from pushing the panic button on Brian Daboll. I think he's going
to – all those guys had 2 years.
That's true. But I think that, this is going to be interesting to see how the team responds and how Daboll faces what is going to be his first adversity of what will be a lot of adversity. That Tom Coughlin every year was fearing for his job. He won a Super Bowl. 2 years later, he's fearing for his job again. So that comes with the territory in the NFL. So what have you done from the league lately? McAdoo was the toast of the town year 1. He was out of here after 2 years. Judge, same thing. But no, I do not think it'll be the case with Daboll. I think Daboll's a good coach. But Baddog, let's close it out. Do what you do.
Yep. So listen, guys and girls, go out, have a few drinks, enjoy your Saturday with your loved ones or your friends or whatever you do. If you're young, do whatever young people do. I don't know. I haven't been young in a long time. Anyway, enjoy the weekend. We'll see you on this channel about 3:30, 3:35 on Sunday. We're going to watch the Giants get their first win of the year.
Yes.
Chris, I, and about 4,000 of our closest friends. Let's go, Giants. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the continued support. Really, really do appreciate it. Your sports, especially this week for me, has been overwhelming. And I really do appreciate it because it was a tough week. That's why Giants fans are the best. We're not always going to agree on shit. This is obvious, okay? What we do agree on is we all want to win. So let's just win a damn game on Sunday. We'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. For the entertainer, it is the Baddog. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Have a good night, guys.